Welcome back. Day number two. So I'm sitting there this morning doing my stack. I'm sitting there on the edge of the bed and sweat's dripping off my forehead because I love to go on my run. And I just do a quick little 20-minute run, do some push-ups. I get done with the run and I'm sitting there, I'm going through the stack. And I got this moment where I knew what it was all for. Like I knew why we do what we do. Like I got to the end of yesterday and my brain was fried. And I realized that I was like playing with this game of telling the truth. We live by a code and trying really hard, but also seeing where it was sometimes hard for me to actually even be clear about the facts that I was declaring because I didn't like where they were. Like, and it was really hard for me to pull this grain, but I'm sitting there in this stack, and God just confirms to me that we do this for a reason. Like every single one of you guys. I want you to look, everyone right now, look, like we talk about one of the rules inside of Warrior, details matter. So every single one of you, details matter, which means we start on time, which means we're here to play, we're here to fight, we're here to battle this game. And I want you to look at the number of participants inside of the game. Right? You can look at the very bottom of the screen. Right? It shows you right here. And I'm sure the numbers are going to increase. I have no doubt that people are going to show up, but I want you to see, I want to acknowledge you for the fact that you're here, you're playing a game. You're here, you're ready, you're recharged. And I want you to look at what your morning routine was. All right, what did you do this morning? Did you do your core four? Like, did you get up and meditate? Did you stack? Like, and it's not an exposure game of saying, hey, I should or shouldn't do this, but like at the end of the day, like putting yourself in a place of power to do what we're doing right now is the key. Like, we are literally at war. You're not at war with me. You're not at war with Warrior. You're not at war right now with your wife or your husband, or you're at war with you. And there is a bullshit version of you that we tried to expose yesterday by getting clear about the facts, because you have to be clear about where you are at in order for today to even matter. If you did not build a game of fact for yourself yesterday, and you did not show up today in power to be able to stand ready when you are called, you are either ready or you are not. And today you are called, and you are called to paint a vision for your world. The war you are fighting against is the bullshit version of who you have been that's led you to today. Because who you are today is great. There's nothing wrong with who you are today. But who you are today has limited your ability to grow into who you could become tomorrow. You're going to be asked today to literally step into this realm inside of who you could be. And that's a really hard place to be, because all the stories in your head, they've led you to today, but you don't have the vision to see what tomorrow could be because the stories are keeping you stuck into today. It's like the biggest mind fuck I've ever experienced. It's just this weird thing. You have to let go and go, let go, let go, let go, right? But it all starts with your ability to stand in power. It all starts with your ability. So I want to find out. Let's see. Let me pull. Let me switch. I can switch this screen, right? Cameron, it's not going to screw it up. Okay. Let's find out where you guys are at. Cooper Hedin, I think I'm saying your name right. Yeah, Cooper, let's find out. Let's bring Cooper up and find out where you're at after day one. Coming in and getting real clear about the facts and the game for you. So, Cooper, welcome, brother. Welcome. So, where are you at, man? Day one, we hammered into the facts on the first three quadrants. We're gonna hand out business today. But where are you at, man?
Struggling. I did meditate this morning, a little bit of exercise, but I meant to do the prayer stack was on my list, and got busy with Montana winter chores and didn't get to it before the start time. So we'll address it again tomorrow. Never give up.
There you go. Right. Rule number 4, don't ever quit. Right. Don't ever quit inside the game. So where are you at as far as the facts of looking at your body, your balance, and your being? Like what came up for you? What kind of things are you seeing about you and the man you have been?
To be really honest, I just started the Warrior Comp 4 a couple of weeks ago. I'm still just scratching the surface of the bullshit. Each time gets a little bit deeper, but there's still a lot of bullshit to dig through.
What's one thing? What's one thing of bullshit? What's something that you exposed in yourself yesterday? Like, what is a lie you're telling yourself that you're like, maybe you're not to the place where you've even been able to tell the truth about it. But what's an area for you? What is that?
I'm not quite as healthy and active as I think and say that I am. I mean,
Okay, what does that mean?
I cook at home and stay away from processed foods, but you don't always cook the healthiest foods. A lot of gravies, and I like to eat good food. So
okay, let me pause you. Let me pause you real quick. That's bullshit. I can appreciate your lie. That's fucking bullshit. You could literally make that change in like 2 seconds. Stop buying processed food. Done. Let's move on to something real. Like, are you interested in having a real conversation, or do you want to feed me fluff? Do you want to just fuck around, or do you actually want to play the fucking game? Like, I want you guys to hear this. Like, everyone listening right now. We are fucking at war. Cooper, you're at war. Are you willing to fight? Are you willing to fight? Or are you going to tell me, well, I didn't get to my prayer stack, so I might get to it tomorrow. Fuck you and your tomorrow. Your tomorrow's never going to fucking come. Being in an opportunity to have a conversation and be under the pressure, this is where you will fucking rise or you will fail. You will be exposed. Every single one of us will be exposed if we are willing to step into the ring. So, Cooper, you stepped into the fucking ring, so well fucking done. But sometimes when you sit in that pressure, we have to get real. We have to identify where we are telling bullshit, where we are sitting there, and we have to want to be exposed. That's warrior. And it starts with getting fucking ruthlessly real with yourself. So, is it a lie that you need to step away from processed foods? Probably not. I'm not saying you're lying about that. But that's a level way up here. What I'm talking about is down here. What's actually going on for you? What's actually coming up for you? Out of everything yesterday, I have a hard time believing that your processed foods was the biggest problem you're dealing with in your life. So where are you really at, man? Where are you really at right now?
The biggest thing I realized yesterday, I also wasn't as good of a parent as I thought I was. We all have these great ideas. We're going to do it better than our parents did. We're going to do it right. And I just fucked it up in a different way. And some more than others. And I've got my youngest daughter that's not afraid to tell me where I fucked up.
How old's your youngest?
23.
Okay. What does she say? What's coming up there with you with her?
Oh, just some of the brilliant things that I did for discipline that she says actually caused a lot of emotional trauma and embarrassment, because sometimes it happened in front of her friends and to make a point, and instead it just drove her away.
Pause. In the chat, if you have done or experienced the same thing, if you have older children, type in me in the chat if you've done the same thing. Where you thought what you were doing was actually helping, leading, and guiding, only to find out that it was literally creating the wedge between you and your child. Like, so you are not, Cooper, you're not alone in this concept. I've experienced the exact same thing. Like, I literally went with my son. He's 20 years old right now, and I'm fighting. I'm just barely getting to the point at which my son will actually want to be around me and have a conversation with me. He still doesn't reply to any texts or voicemails, or he doesn't answer his phone when I call him. But I thought there was a way of being to discipline and to get him to rise, to be the man that I wanted him to become. And every single time I did what I thought was the right way, it was actually damaging and destroying him. Same thing you're describing there. So what do you do with that, man? What do you do knowing that that's the game that you have? What's your daughter's name?
Katie.
Kate, is that what you said?
Katie.
Katie, okay. So what are you seeing now as you've gotten clear about, hey, this is how I had shown up? You got clear about that, and you got clear that, hey, that's not working. So what are you seeing now with that, now that you've kind of exposed that as the truth?
I've got a lot of healing to do within before I can even start to mend the relationship with her. so I can come from a different place.
Wow. What does that look like for you?
A lot of work.
Yeah.
And
I have a
I'm not even sure where.
Yeah. Do you want? Would you like a suggestion?
Absolutely.
Okay. It has to do with what you didn't get done this morning. Any guesses?
Yeah, maybe get up a little earlier.
And do what?
Get through them stacks, and I'm not even sure exactly what the Core 4 is yet. I'm still trying to learn how to use all these tools.
Yeah, it's brand new to the game, right? What I'm gonna encourage you is just keep going. That's the encouragement. Like, as you take all this on, and you've got to give yourself grace. Like, here inside the game of Warrior, it is not a game of perfection at all. Yeah. Never has any man walked inside this game and been perfect.
Yeah. I almost didn't show up for this event because I hadn't made it through WarriorCon 4 yet. And then I'm like, I'm just going to jump in the fire.
I'm glad you did. Are you glad you did?
I'm very glad I did.
Okay, good. Well, here's what I'll say. You've got 2 more days in this game, right? Inside this fact map. Go all in, right? Let go of any of the stories that have been holding you back. That same story that's holding you to this place of saying, hey, maybe I shouldn't go because I don't know if I'm qualified or I'm prepared or I'm ready. Like, you are. You are, and I know that because you're here. And you're fighting for something that's much bigger than this surface level. So as you go through today and tomorrow, just play that game that way. Realize that, hey, there's some depth that you can go. There's some things you'll unlock. And as you start to cast a vision for you and your daughter, Katie, today, like, what could it be like? What could it be like? Let go of how you're going to pull it off. And that there's healing that has to happen on your side and at Katie's side. Like, that has to happen for sure. Let go of that and just start to just imagine this world, right? You get very clear yesterday about where you and Katie are at, and this is one example in all the work you've done. And now you can find out, what could it look like? Same thing I had to do with my son. Same thing I'm doing with my son right now. Is what would it look like for my son to look at his dad with love and respect and trust? I don't know what that looks like. I'm fighting for that. So, Cooper, you and I, we're fighting the same game. Fighting the same game. So, well done. Well done.
Thank you.
2 clap. Boom. You know what to do in the chat. You know what to do. I don't have to tell you. Yeah, Cooper. It's all the fucks. It's all the fucks. All right. Let's see who else we got. Who else needs to come up here? Who else needs to come up here? Brian Monroe. Brian Monroe, man. Mute yourself.
There we go.
There we go. And we'll get you spotlighted up here. We got to find you. We're like 17 pages. There we go. There we go. All right, man. What you got?
I actually had an interesting morning. Last night I sent the balance work that we did over to my wife, and she read it through. And probably about a half hour ago, I just got up on my screen because she's working in her office, a text message saying, hey, I want to send this to our boys because they need to know that you think about them, that you want to fight for them, that you're working for them and that. And I found that really interesting. The other thing that I uncovered yesterday is the fact that Garrett led that activity by example where he named out his children. And in the past, I've been always doing partner, posterity, my wife, my kids. And in doing my kids, I've been generalizing our 3 children and ignoring the fact that one of them doesn't want anything to do with me and hasn't spoken to me in 3 years. And she's 25. She has stories in her head about what I was like as a father when I was with her mother years ago. I'm on my second marriage now, 17 years the first round and almost 10 for this one. And I've been generalizing and hiding behind the fact that one of my kids doesn't want anything to do with me by just bucketizing it under kids. And so yesterday, going through that activity, I named them. I called them out. I used Garrett's example, and I wrote something very specific about each one of them. You know, my stepson, the fact that 4 years ago, before his daughter was born, he legally changed his last name to mine and asked me if I would help him, give him some bit of money to give to the Marine Corps to change all his uniforms over. He wanted to be, he wanted to be a Monroe. You know, my son has done a big turnaround, and I still that my daughter just doesn't want anything to do with me. So it was a struggle.
What came up for you when you got granular like that and you got off of the macro view into the micro and you started looking at what's your daughter's name, the 23-year-old?
Paige.
So what did you see? Like when you actually got specific with you and your relationship with Paige, like what is that actual reality right now?
I went back and I actually reviewed some of the latest like text messages from about 3 years ago, and I realized that there were points in time where I interjected and we had a bit of a relationship. But when the conversation came up about money and Dad always had to say no, then it blew apart. And what I realized, a big thing I realized is I'm beating myself up a little too hard on that. There are just some people that we just can't control right now. And all I can do is I can be here.
Pause. There's only some people. So which people can you control? So there's people in your world you can control. I'd like to hear about
I'm the only person I can control. So I guess
okay.
Everybody else
like, man, you must have like some secret ninja formula that I don't know about. Okay, carry on.
Yeah.
I just want to clarify.
Yeah. So I just one of the things I just realized though is I went back to the very last message I said to her. I said, I love you. I'm here for you. I live in Las Vegas. The moment your plane touches down, you call me. I'll be there to pick you up. We'll talk. And that's it. And I also, in one of our breakout groups yesterday, Lauren was in there and she made the comment saying there's just some things you can't change. People are going to just do what they do. And you have to deal with it and just live with it. So I do have to live with the fact that I have a daughter that doesn't want to talk to me right now because of some just crazy story she put in her head that is not possible, but she believes it.
So I was sitting there in my son's bedroom asking him to take care of his cat. His cat kept pissing all over his bedroom and he wouldn't take care of it. It seems like a silly thing, right? Cat, but we've ended up having to replace the carpets and just cat's ruining the room, right? And I'm like, that's thousands of dollars. I'm seeing this and I'm having this conversation. He gets very triggered by this conversation. This is maybe a year ago. So he gets very triggered by this conversation and starts to kind of posture up. Like literally physically posture up. My son's not a big kid. Like physically, he could not do a whole lot damage to me, but it was the first time in my life he's an adult. But he like postured up and I watched it happen. I was like, interesting. Like in my mind, I'm like, what the fuck's happening here? I just need you to take care of your fucking cat. Like this doesn't need to be a problem. Just take care of your cat. What is this? What are you trying to do here? It was like the first time he'd actually challenged me in that way. And I handled it completely the wrong way. And we were in his room. I start saying some things I shouldn't probably be saying. He starts saying things back to me, and then he wants to leave. He wants the conversation to be over. And I don't know what fucking possessed me. It's this weirdest thing. I decided I wasn't going to let him leave. Right? He's threatened suicide. He's done all these things. And so, like, I was honestly, there's a part of me that was worried about if he walked out, I would never see him again. Like Ryan, like I would never see him again. So I was like, I'm not going to let him leave. And it escalated to this point where, like, in my mind, I'm like, what am I doing? But I couldn't stop it. And he tries to leave, and I reach out and I grab him. And then I push him back in the room. And then he tries to leave again, and I grab him. He's literally physically trying to leave. I felt like it was like a football game. And he's like trying to get around me. He literally is like trying to juke, and I'm grabbing him physically. And I grabbed him, and I just held him. And he starts flailing, goes running towards the other side of the room where he's got a window to jump out. And he grabs this window, flails it open, and I grab the back of his shorts as he's coming out, and I rip him back. And I hold him in his room for like 10 minutes. He's screaming, top of his lungs. My wife is up, so he is screaming for her. He's screaming, Mom, help me. Great proud moment as a dad. And needless to say, he walked out of that house when I finally realized what a fucking psycho I was being. He walked out of that house, and I didn't see him again for months and months. Brian, I had to get to this place where I was okay with the fact that I may never see him again.
Yeah.
And it was one thing that I had to do, and I realized the same thing Garrett talked about yesterday when we talked about Bailey. God's got you. And I had to realize God had my son. And God has your daughter.
Yeah.
You can't control what they do. And there was a surrender that I had to do. There was this surrender to realize that I had to let go. And it was scary as fuck. I literally waited for phone calls from the police or EMTs that they found Eli dead on the side of the road. So that's the story and the narrative running through my head, but I was like, everything I have done to this point has created this damage, right? So there's damage. There's things that you have done for your daughter. Whether they're real stories for you or not, bro, they're real for her.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And there's no way you have the capacity to heal that. Who does?
Right. God
Who can
can if
heal
God can if she allows it. Yeah.
Could it happen like tomorrow?
It could happen at any time, but she has to surrender to that.
Could it be 10 years from now?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh.
Yesterday I prepared for that. Yesterday I came to that truth. I prepared for that.
Alan, what would you add to this, brother?
Many of you saw my son at WarriorCon 4 with his interaction with Garrett. My wife and I said goodbye to him for 10 years. We had no idea where he was. We waited for that call that Trevor was talking about. He ended up in prison a couple times. And it's a hard road to let go because I enabled him for such a long time. I wanted to believe that he was clean. I wanted to believe all of these stories. And at some point, you just have to have tough love and you have to just trust God. And I think that's the biggest thing with what I'm learning is it's ego. Ego that you can save everyone, ego you can't save enough. It fucks with your head. It tells you stories. But at the end of the day, you have to trust God. And the biggest thing I can say is take a knee. I wasn't prepared for what God was doing with the work that he was doing in my son at WarriorCon 4. I had no idea. There are stories there that I could share that would blow your mind about what God has done. But now he and I are having these conversations every day, and we're creating a podcast around this because God told me that no one ever tells the story of the prodigal son from the father's perspective. We look out the window and every day we wonder, were we good enough? Were we there to say the right thing at the wrong time? We have no answers to that. You got to live your life and know that you can just be there where they are. That's it. That's it. Because if you looked at what Jesus did, he just met people where they were. He didn't talk down to them. He didn't talk at them. He just met them where they were. And if I would have just done that, I probably could have saved my son 10 years of agony. He reached out and he said to me, Dad, you always told me I represented you, but you never told me who you were. And at WarriorCon 4, I took a knee and I said, I didn't even know myself. So you just have to trust God, brother. Just give her back to God. It's the only thing you can do.
Thank you.
Brian, what are you hearing?
Yeah, I'm hearing just trust. Like just as I said, just let her go. She's God's. God will intervene and she'll hear when she's ready to hear. And whether it's a week or 10 years or 15 years, I just have to make sure that A, I'm always available, that she can reach out, and B, that I just keep her in my prayers. And that's all I can do right now.
Yeah. Easy to say, hard to do. It's not a process, right? It's not something you just wake up and you do. Like Alan, I got a witness, and I've had several conversations with your son. So him and I have a little tribe unit together. Like
It took a lot of work. He and I now we're creating a podcast in January to have these conversations. with men every day that are going through what we're going through, because it's a beautiful relationship. The conversations I have with my son in a million years, I never thought I would have. I didn't. And it's just, I was just ready when he was ready. And he said some hard things to me that I had to accept. I was not a perfect dad.
If we can't ever let go of the fact that we think we're right, relationships are going to be damaged all around us, and we don't even realize the damage that we're causing. And it's all because we think we're right. We think we know. We think we actually know what's supposed to happen. And that's a weird thing, because when we think we know, especially when we're dealing with another relationship, whether it's a spouse or a child, we think we know, we're basically saying, oh, well, I think I'm God. Because really, God's the only one that can like sit inside your head and know what needs to happen for you. So if I start to say it, I start to look at you and I'm like, dude, well, I know what you need. All of a sudden, I'm like, well, I'm God. That's never going to work. Like, I'll never have this place. And it's really this interesting dynamic when you're dealing with other people to realize that you have absolutely zero control. And the power in those relationships, they come through the surrender. Like, it's literally through the submission. We want them to take a knee. We want them to get the lesson. We want them to learn the thing, when the reality is we're the ones that actually need to surrender. We need to take a knee. And if we can't take a knee to God, then there's no possible way that we can hear from other people, our children, our wives, and they are begging and pleading. Just like Garrett shared with the team this morning, right? We have collisions, and if we don't go to God and listen, we do not identify what the fruit is of that collision. We won't see it. We'll think we're right. We'll hold ourselves in this stance. This is why living the warrior's way, doing the work that we do, why it matters. Why, if you don't do this, you find yourself in this chaos of wonder, of Brian sitting there saying, hey, I don't know what to do. My daughter's gone, and she needs to learn the lesson. And as soon as she learns the lesson, as soon as she surrenders, once you consider, Brian, you kept saying she needs to do these things, but who really needs to?
I need to do it first.
Oh, and that's it.
Yeah,
Not even
absolutely.
first. It's you just need to do it.
Yep. Yep.
What's that? I can't hear you. So, is it Dr. Bugatti? Yeah, Dr. Bugatti, man, what do you have to add to this?
I'm not a doctor, nor is my last name Bugatti.
Okay.
Steve, it's
I'm like, I like it though. All right.
it was a Warrior Wealth name, so I kind of show up
Steve,
like that, have fun.
Steve, I should have got Steve out of that. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with me.
Right.
All right, Steve, what do you got? What do you got, man?
I've been working on my balance for a long time, but primarily working on my marriage. Needed it. I showed up as an asshole for just a really, really long time, and I did so as a father as well. So I have 5 boys. My oldest is about to turn 20 right now, and here about a month ago, he got in a car accident. He's drunk, out of his mind drunk, and he should be dead. There's no reason why he's alive. I mean, there's a reason why he's alive, right? Or he should be in jail, one of the two. And my wife hates him. Has for a long time. Some of you may remember a couple beginning of the year. He was actually on the Fact Map Challenge. I tried to get him to work with me. I tried to kind of get him on the path of starting to have habits and routines and understand the science so that he has opportunity of success, because he just has no direction, no motivation. Unfortunately, he reminds me a lot of myself when I was a young lad. But I had to kick him out of my house. It was the hardest thing to do, man. It's just, he's here with us again now because he has no place to go. He lies to everyone, and he doesn't have any friends. So he can't go anywhere else. He doesn't have a job. He can't hold a job. And now he's looking at going in the military. I don't want kids to go in the military, but probably a damn good thing for him. That's what I did when I was young. And it's just really hard having my wife hate him. He won't work at trying to fix that relationship. No matter how much I tell him, he refuses to take wisdom from anyone that loves him, but freely accepts it from the world. And it's just really hard to, he had a long time of watching me not really be a man. And I can't help just believe in everything in me that I did this to him. And it's hard.
Did you do it to him?
That's the biggest lie I told myself for years, that he was a product of me. He made his own decisions. And when I stood up at WareCon 4 and I yelled at him for everything he's worth, he created his own fucking mess. I didn't do it. I didn't introduce him to drugs. Yeah, I gave him the avenue of not showing up as a man. I gave him the opportunity by what I said, not how I lived. It's interesting. I watch my 6-year-old now. He gets up and he reads the Bible with me in the morning. A 6-year-old. He works out with me. He knows core 4. I didn't give that to my son, but he made his own decisions. He made his own path. Don't fall into that trap, because it will kill you. You can just
hard not to.
There. I know. My son was homeless in the car that I gave him until the engine died, because he wouldn't put oil in it. I had to have the car towed home. And then he was homeless again. We had no idea. The police came to our house looking for him. I called the police. You know what was interesting is he actually told the police the other day, a year ago, he was in Michigan starting this barbecue company of his. And he shared his testimony on the TV, but I was too proud to listen or to even hear where he was. He's back there right now with this barbecue company, and he saw these 2 police officers and handed him a flyer. And they said, "Are you the kid from last year that shared your testimony? We remember you. Your generation isn't supposed to love police officers." He said, "If it wasn't for you, I would probably be dead. If you wouldn't have arrested me and sent me to jail, I lost 30 of my friends. I would probably be dead right now. But for whatever reason, God had a plan that I needed to be locked up. Something I planned to question. Watching your son in shackles was probably the most shameful thing I ever felt, but I couldn't even imagine what he felt, the pain that he felt, because it was all about me. Don't make it about you."
And that's the hardest thing, because we want to. We want to make it about us, because it feeds the narrative. So
Can't fix him.
yeah. So we're gonna go on a breakout. We're gonna talk about what just happened, what's coming up for you. So we're gonna go for 10 minutes, and you share what are you feeling? What are you experiencing when you just heard these men share this real truth? And here inside the room, we're gonna do walk and talk. So we'll partner up, and what's coming up for you guys? What are you guys hearing for you? So at home, 10 minutes in the breakout room. You know what to do. 3, 2, 1, off you go.
Gentlemen. Yo.
Hello.
So I have an 8-month-old kid. His name's Luca. So I'm a brand new father. And when I was a kid, I had to go to the Air Force Academy because my parents they got taken advantage of by a real estate agent. And we ended up homeless for a little bit. And I share that with you only because there's a part of me that was so angry with my dad growing up. I started to do shit that, teenagers do. And, as these gentlemen were talking, I realized I have a golden opportunity in front of me to truly lead my son, right? I'm spending time with him now, right? Obviously he's super young, so he's not remembering it, but we are building that connection. But I have this opportunity to connect with him. But what came up was I'm going to see my dad over Christmas, and I'm I'm going to use that as an opportunity just like to walk with him and ask him some questions about the tough times when we were growing up, about the dumb shit I did, and like what was going through his head, like what was he thinking about, and knowing what he knows now, where I'm at, and obviously it has played out well, but at the time, like, what does he wish he would have done differently, right? And it's like, I feel like it's such a great opportunity for me to connect with my dad about him being a father. So
Imagine the pain he must have gone through at the time.
yeah.
For we don't look at it in that lens, they do. It's funny when we get a bit older, you realize and things like this that brings it out.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
There's this crazy thing of like balancing between self-forgiveness and taking responsibility here, because it's so painful to fuck up your kids, but we can, no question, fuck up our kids. Like, no question. Like, but we do because we don't know. We didn't know. That's how we were taught. So we weren't put here like perfect. We didn't decide to be all fucked up. Like, we were placed here not knowing how to fucking do this. So a lot of times we figure it out after we fuck everything up. Not when I say a lot of times, I mean most of the time.
Yeah.
So, but then we beat ourselves up because we're like, oh, I fucked up my kid. Well, yeah, that's what we do. That's what dads do. Then we figure it out. When we figure it out, we got to apologize later. And then we get to show them what that looks like. And, but the cool thing about, like, I got 5 kids. They're still young. My oldest is 16. So I'm learning a lot of this stuff in the last 3 years. But, you know, for you get to take all this information and be better. And that's the point, generation to generation. Like, have our kids figured out sooner than we did. Have their kids figured out sooner, you know? But it's hard as a dad to be like, just admit it. Yeah, I fucked up my kids. That's painful. Damn.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing for me to hear this. I've been going through a lot of my own issues, and seeing a lot of the faults that my father and my stepfather made with me, and there's a big source of wanting to blame them. But I appreciate what you're saying, Kyle, because a lot of what I'm seeing out of this is it's not like kids come with an owner's manual. It's not like we know what to do. And, sure, they contributed to problems I have, but I've done the same thing with my son. At 23, he has some issues too that we're coping with. And I'm realizing what my role is in that, and then trying to now as a better dad. And do a better job. Hopefully, I'm learning from my own mistakes and from the mistakes that my father and my stepfather made in raising me to be better to him.
And guess what? They're older, so now they get to watch you change and humbly admit your faults, and then you learn together, and then it's all healed. It's like, it'll heal. And it's healed through just being real and honest and apologetic and humble. And admitting, they just want to hear, I fucked up, I'm sorry, I'm changing. Like, that's all they want to hear. And then they want to believe it, which takes time. You know, it's hard.
Yeah, I've got a daughter that's 14 and my son's 11. But we've got a good relationship. I don't connect to them enough at a deep level. Any issues concerns, they're with the mother. The mother deals with the issues. I'm there and I support. I'm around. We're together. It doesn't sound like we're separated, but they'll obviously talk about the issues with their mother. But it's a different world. It's a world that I don't understand in terms of all the social media and the gender, and my daughter's getting quite challenging. I don't know if she likes boys or girls. It's just that's the area that's just new to all of us, I think, and just how do we get through that quagmire of change and just be honest with them. But it's still quite a difficult time, I think, across the board.
Yeah, in my fact map, it was like, make sure they know that you love them regardless and that they're enough.
Yeah.
And lead by example, not with compulsion. example in love. And I need to teach better with questions and stories rather than telling them what to do. Just like you would if you're selling somebody something, you're not compelling them, you're helping them find the answers. I tend to tell my kids how it is through my experience. Like, this is how it is because I know, because I've been around, you see me, rather than asking them and helping them figure it out themselves like I would anybody else in a business leadership situation, you know? But I have a hard time leading my men in business very patiently and kind and tactful. And then at home, I'm just like, bah, hammer, you know?
Oh, yeah. But you know, just also what made me realize this morning is just, and Sergey, you said you've got a quite a young one still. It's just time. They just want time with you and quality time. They don't need expensive toys and technology aside. It's just quality time with them. And I can see that I haven't recently. I don't do that. I don't do enough of that. And it's always, if we're going somewhere doing that, it's not quality time. I'm distracted. And that's all they often need. And that's something I'm going to focus on a bit more going forward.
I mean, fuck, that's all I want too,
Yeah.
right? In my relationship with my wife.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. I mean, actually, that's even worse with my wife because we don't make time for each other.
Yeah, it really is. Like, you know, my wife and I work on quality time with each other. And then I see this quality time that she spends with my son. And I'm like, oh, this isn't hard. You just have to be intentional and be thoughtful about what you're doing. And I'm not saying parenting isn't hard. I'm in the easiest part of parenting right now. I get that.
Yeah, it's coming.
It's like, right, it's like, let me get the foundational shit right now, right? Like you said, and like, it's the simple quality time aspect of it.
It's so funny because when you break it all down and you put it in the fact map, it's like, you're like, this is very simple. It's like, it's like eating right. You're like, here's some numbers of your macronutrients. Just hit these. And you're like, oh, that sounds easy. Then you go to do it and you fuck it all up and it's like, get emotional. And, you know, it's like this, all these simple concepts become very complicated when emotions get involved and stress and, you know, but damn, on paper, it's like, just be nicer, be more patient. It's like, oh, okay. Well, seems easy on paper.
Now, I thought this morning was a bit of a kick in the dick already. It's just from yesterday. I played a little bit soft cock. It's made me realize, hang on, there's some things I need to deal with.
Yeah. Yep.
I think it'd be wasted on all of us, right? Like you hear these other experiences, right, of these men who are vulnerable enough to open up. And if you don't take that as a lesson, as a kick in the dick, as you put Robert, then they're just sharing for nothing.
I'm so good at hiding my emotions and I don't share them generally. I'm warm and friendly, but I don't. Something I need to work on. I suppose we will do.
I'm finding.
I need to work on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think men in general, we have a hard time breaking that wall down.
Yeah.
And like where you could, you know, look at your wife and like tell her how much you love her and just cry. Like we don't do that shit. It's hard for us, you know, like, but that's connection. Like letting them actually see how you feel.
Yeah. I think a lot of that too is just the stories that have been passed down from generations. It just kind of reminds me of the Be the Man book, you know, just like it's a generational thing that's been passed down, but it's just a fucking story ultimately that says, as a man, yep, that's it.
100%.
Thank you guys.
Okay, well, welcome back. That was an exciting share. And you guys did a great job as a group, as a team, here in a room, getting to share, everybody getting to be in a place and a connection and a place of power. a place of certainty in who you are and where you are. This is all we did yesterday. We have one more category to get real on, though. What's category? Business. What is it? Business. What is it? Business. Thank you. In the chat, what is it? What's category we got to get clear on? Type it in the chat. Let's go. Type it in, type it in, type it in. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Business. Now, business is an interesting category because business for some of you is going to be literally the business that you run. For others of you, business is going to be the conversation of money. But for all of you, it's going to be the conversation of money. So when we look at the conversation of business, there's how you make money, and then there's the money that you make. All money itself comes down to a few simple conversations. First conversation is making it. Make money. So I've got this stage of money, which is my ability to make it. Some of you are really good at doing that. Some of you are not so good at that. Some of you are in a position right now where you're happy about the money that you make. Some of you are in positions in which you're not happy about the money that you make. But making money is the first piece. There's a second piece to making money. Keep money. How many of you right now in the chat know that you're great at making money, but you're shitty at keeping money? Type in hell yes into chat if that's you. Type in hell yes in the chat if you know that's you. Yes, you are. And let's do this when we're doing this, Cam. Bring that chat up on the screen so that everybody in the audience can see it here in person. And just put that chat bar over on the right side of the screen. Just slide it over. Yep, we'll get used to having that there. And slide it just a little bit more so you got the people's faces. We're working on simultaneous systems at the same time since we're running a shitload of hybrid events. Yep, just keep bringing it, keep bringing it, keep bringing it. Right, yep, right there, perfect. Perfect, just leave it right there. Hybrid events are going to become our game going forward. It's going to be exciting. We're going to have people in here. We've got another hybrid studio we're going to build down the hallway where individuals who are part of Warrior Launch and part of Warrior Council, you'll have an opportunity to come participate, a handful of you, 10 every month, in one of our virtual events that are happening in person down the hallway. For those that are part of Warrior Council, you'll be here in these rooms with myself, with Coach Trevor, as well as our training team every single month in person for 2 days. There are some of you here today that are still on the fence about making that decision. You're here doing your fact maps. You're like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know what I want to be part of. My invitation is going to be the same today as it is going to be tomorrow by the end of the day as it's going to be for the rest of this year. Right, our window and opportunities are closing for this, and they're going to open back up. Pricing is going up. Changes are happening. And there's some of you who are very happy about those changes. Some of you are not. Our moves and what we're doing here, though, are about efficiency and about raising the standard for everyone. And that includes the ability for you to get results. And one of the areas that we want you to get better results in is money, which is the ability to make it. We're going to have to swipe it over now on the other side. So when I come to this one, let's put it to the right side, Cam. Move my chat bar. Nope, just move that whole chat bar over to the right. Move it all the way to the other side. We'll get this figured out. So I think if we leave it there on that side, then every time I come here, it won't be a block and it won't be a problem. So I got to make it. This is part of the game. You got to figure out how to make the money, right? Well, making money comes down to skill sets. It comes down to abilities. It comes down to a whole lot of things. Some of those are going to be things that you are willing to and have been willing to do, and some are going to be things you haven't been willing to do. One of the crazy parts for me is people that come to me and say, I want more money. I'm like, cool, I want more value. Yeah, but I put in a lot of time. I don't give a fuck how long you put in. There's a lot of people that spend 40 years doing the same shit. They're not worth any more than they were 40 years ago. Just because you put in time doesn't mean that you're worth more. Well, I really care. I care a lot. Caring doesn't equal cash. Results and value in a company deliver value in exchange for money. There's an exchange for this. It produces more value, you make more money. You don't create more value, you don't get paid more money. In a business, same thing. If I'm running a company, I don't get to make more money just because I want to make more money. Just because I wrote on a vision board and a dollar amount doesn't mean that I get to have that dollar amount. There's some skill sets that are required in doing that. Whether I'm inside a company or whether I'm running a company, it doesn't matter. The attitude and the energy is exactly the same, which is in order to make money, I must have skills. And those skills produce value and solve problems. And when I solve those problems, I can request an exchange of value in the form of money. Now, if you get to a situation where your request for what you feel you're worth and based on the value you're creating, there may not be a match. It's why people leave jobs. It's why employers fire team members. It's why things don't work because there's not a match. Doesn't mean that that same person's not worth more in another environment, but the world is not here to tell you what you're worth. But I would have you consider that your worth as a producer is measured pretty simply in two things: the amount of money you make and the amount of money you keep. You want to know how you are as a producer? Look at your bank account. I was a PE teacher and a football coach. That was what I started at. I was not raised in an entrepreneurial family. I was not raised around people who knew anything about money. I was not raised around anybody that knew how to make money at all. The idea of being rich was something that was, well, it was the only idea I had in it was the game of being a doctor. You see that I was working camera? This shit's working great. Let's do a slow roll on that one, though. So slow back and let's try it again. We're testing this shit out. I'm going to get it nailed. Okay, good. So when I come over here, roll the big, there, and then just hold it for a second. Let me talk. Don't immediately bounce. Let me go here. So if you see me standing and I'm here now in a new dialogue, now bring it in. Can you make it go slow, though? Can you make it go, can it go slower than that? No, it's a fast? All right, we'll take it fast then. All right. That's what she said. Take it fast. That's it? So I got 15 seconds? Yep, that's all I got. Okay, so this game then of making money for you is an idea that all of you are pursuing with conscious or unconscious tendencies. Like there's no possible way for you to make it in the game of life without making money. Period. Right? Some of you get the benefit at this stage in the game in your life to just take Ubers and order coffee from Starbucks and order clothing and have Amazon boxes show up to the front door and play music late into the night with your sister while doing TikToks at 1 a.m. And, you know, magically it's like, wow, I'm super irritated. I don't know why that Uber Eats took so long to get here.
Hey, I ordered that with my own money. Thank you.
Hey.
Amazon package.
It's about time we're cutting into that deficit of where we've been in debt for the past 5 years. And I'm proud of you for making your own money. So there's a piece inside of it for all of us that you've got to look at and be real about what your skills have been in making money. You also got to stand back and look at and being real with yourself about how good you've been at keeping money. Your ability to keep it and your ability to make it are intertwined. Some of you are great at keeping it, but you're so scarcity-driven the way you think. You cling to everything like it's the fucking last dollar you ever had, and that's why you don't make more money. You don't make more money because you're such a cheap bastard. You expect high value from the world to pay you, but you won't fucking pay anybody. You expect everybody to take care of you, but you're the fucker that sneaks treats into the movie theaters, you idiot. Ooh, I'm gonna save $4 and bring my own M&Ms. Go fuck yourself. You're in scarcity. And I get it, because that was the world I was raised in. Remember, I was raised in go to the buffet and stay there for 9 hours and everybody eat like 4 times. That was like our world. You're gonna love this King's Table buffet. Sit your ass down. We're having fun today. What are we doing? Eating all damn day long. Why? You know how much this buffet costs? It's like, I don't know. But, I mean, that was what it was. So I was raised in a world of scarcity. One of the worst things I was ever taught was we need to save all the food. For what? What are we gonna do with the food? We didn't even eat it half the times. So for once in a while, every 2 weeks, my mom would gather all the shit in the Tupperwares, and with Sunday dinner was like all of what was in the Tupperwares. It was fucking mystery meatloaf and all kinds of weird shit that showed up. I didn't know there was any other world. So I shopped when I went to restaurants, driven by how much things cost. People were like, oh man, you're so healthy, you only drink water. I was like, do you know how much fucking soda is? Give me a soda. What do you think, I'm rich? The hell, dude. Give me some water. Give me some water and some more free water on top of that water, please. My whole world operated from this place. It was just straight scarcity. And what's wild to me is people that come into my world who have been raised in scarcity, and I treat them with abundance, but they act like scarcity entitled fucks. I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with you? I was like, A, you're overpaid. B, I'm giving you way more opportunity than anybody else to give you. So you either show the fuck up and add value or get the fuck out of here. That's why 80% of the people work for me never last. Because they come in and they've been trained so long in this environment of scarcity, they can't break out of the psychology. They can't see the opportunity for what it is. And this isn't coming from somebody who's raised in a trust fund, right? My kids get to face their own problems, which is they're raised in abundance. My daughter won't even know what it's like to have cornbread with honey and go to the buffet for 9 hours. Like, she has no clue what this world's like. She has a different problem, which is she's been raised in complete wealth and complete abundance, which is going to be its own challenge in and of itself. Different challenge than I had. I wasn't raised with anything. How many of you are raised in scarcity? Type in me in the chat if that was you. Meaning you were raised with very little money, you didn't have an awareness of money, you weren't sure about money, etc. Right? So most first generational wealthy people came from nothing. Most second generational, the children of those people, fuck it all up. This is a fact. This happens over and over again. Why? Because there's a hunger that comes when you have nothing. When you wake up and the only way you get to have shit is if you go get it. You have to hunt for it. That was the world I was raised in. My parents were very positive about this. If you want money, you got to go make it. How do I do that? I had a paper route from the time I was 12 years old. I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning and did a paper route every single morning. That's not even a thing anymore, but that was a thing back then. I put a little satchel on, made my $200 a month. I was fucking happy as hell. I was like, dude, I'm the richest guy I know. $200 a year. My parents gave me $50 a year for school clothes. That was it. So it's really different when I watch my daughters go out with my wife and they go shopping like 3 times a week and they come back 15 bags and they got like 9 pairs of jeans and 15 pairs of shoes and all of them are $600 Nikes. And I'm like, that's different. This is different. It's not what I was raised in. And then the challenge becomes for individuals in that place is the fact that you don't even know what it takes to make it. So then you think you're better than you are, but you're not. You're not that fucking good. And some of you have been in a situation, you've been raised in scarcity for so long, you're actually better than you think. So you have the opposite problem, which is you're really, really good, but you value yourself where? Really, really low. So now you actually do have all the skills. That's why people recruit from Utah. A lot of entrepreneurs I know hire all the people from Utah. Why? Because per capita, you have some of those educated people who devalue the shit out of their skill sets and their abilities and will work for damn near nothing. So you get high-level people for very cheap. Versus other place, you come to California and get a whole lot of people who think they're worth fucking the moon. You're like, oh my God, oh really? 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 I'm worth like 400,000. You're worth to go fuck yourself is what you're worth. Go find somewhere else to work. You gotta get the fuck out of here. You're out of your mind. This happened in the salon twice. I had to fire everyone in the salon 2 times. 2 whole times. We wiped the whole fucking salon. Why, Katie? Why do we have to fire everybody in the salon? There were a bunch. Entitled bitches. That's our phrase. Entitled bitches. It was wild to me. I'd have girls making $6,000, $7,000 a month working in their own salons. Then they come work in our salons. We provided the leads, paid for all the hair. By the way, about $65,000 in hair extension hair before Crystal got here and cleaned all that shit up, just sitting in the fucking drawers. We need more hair. That's easy to run because you're running my fucking credit cards. You're not paying for it yourself. These women are making $15,000, $16,000, $17,000 a month now, and they only have to do one thing, do hair. You get to produce hair. Everything else is handled for you. Marketing, sales, equipment, resource, insurance, coverage. Everything else is covered. And somehow I'm an asshole who uses you. And by the way, Aniana Rivera, go fuck yourself. Period.
Damn.
This is somebody who was fired recently for being just an entitled bitch. So listen, the game itself in my life is really, really simple. Real simple. Real simple. You get what you're committed to, period. You want to be an entitled fuck, you get fired. You want to be an entitled fuck as an entrepreneur, your people will quit. Because entitlement goes the other direction too. Because there's plenty of entrepreneurs who find themselves in a place, in a space, in a situation, and when I back up like that, Cameron, that's going to be your signal to back the camera out. There you go, buddy. We can't stay in one place for too long. So you either got to cut it yourself or you're going to follow me when I cut. So let's practice. Ready? I come forward. Here we are. Bam. Boom. So I'm on like this. If you see me start walking back like this, that's going to be your signal to what? There we go, bro. We're going to mash this thing. Okay. You guys get in real time. This is how I figure shit out, by the way. This is why our software and our technology and the way we train. Once I trained at Warrior Studios, WarriorCon 4, I was like, oof, we're going to get it. We're going to get it. All right, you got a little excited there. I was moving forward, but don't quite pull back out. There you go. Like, now Cameron's like got PTSD. He's like, shit, he's moving. He's fucking moving. Go. And I'm like, no, not yet. That was a fake out. It's a fake out. There you go. That was good. Cameron, see how you did that? Good. So we got the crowd laughing. Now go ahead and do that again. Do it one more time. Like, show the crowd. Now you guys can fucking laugh, fuckers. There you go. Yeah, that was good. That was a good laugh track. All right. Beautiful. So cut away like that because it'll be a better experience for the audience too as they're sitting virtually with us. Side note, how many of you know right now the way we run virtual trainings is much fucking better than your typical Zoom trainings you guys have been on outside of Warrior? Type in me if that's you in the chat. Type in me if you know that's the case. I get highly irritated with what people call quality. It like drives me fucking nuts. So I invest in a huge amount of technology and support systems just to create an environment for you virtually where you can have a close to, it will never be exactly the same as being in person, but it'll be close to. So our game here with money matters. There's a statement I've been quoted on. It's actually in the book Have It All that I co-authored with Russell Brunson, which is this. The marriage that you want, the family that you want, the life that you want will be built by the business you build, right? Your business and you are a business. So when we talk about business and we go into this conversation today, I want you to consider that the business we're talking about is the business of you. a business of you. And you have stock value. There is stock in you. Your partner, your spouse, sees some value in that stock. My wife long played it. She was like, penny stock. She was like, I think this one's going to turn out. And she's like, he's a bit fucking crazy. His face is really red, and he's quite white and pasty. But you know what? I think this one's going to, long term, I think this one's going to be a runner. There were some definitely better looking dudes than me who had better six packs, who had the cool suave hair going on. They were cooler than me for sure. Dressed better, but she's like, those pretty boys aren't going to go anywhere. I'm going to lock myself up with this fucking stallion. Sure enough, it paid off over time, but there was a price to be paid. And this value in myself goes up and it goes down all the time. Your value in yourself is constantly going up and down, and that's based on a whole lot of factors. But in the game of money, what it comes down to is your ability and your skills. Your skills and your mindsets. This is why Living the Warrior's Way is so potent and so powerful. When I first started living this way, I wasn't living in it to ultimately have it all. What I was trying to figure out was, how do I make more money in business? That's how the game began. I was like, all right, I've got this problem, which is I built some companies, I lost some companies. I'm not very good at that's a lot of parts of being an entrepreneur. I need to figure that shit out. So I was like, how do I make more money? That was the desire. Then I realized that sitting inside the core four, that when my body and my being and my balance were on point, when these three areas were firing, I had this increased amount of certainty and power to produce. I called this idea right here reverse engineer production. I looked at money and I said, all right, if money's the issue, I'm going to reverse it. My body affects my money. My being, my relationship with God affects my money. My balance, my marriage, my relationship with my kids affects my money. My money is a function of this power. If I increase this power, and along with it, I can learn the skills and I can obtain the mindsets and I can obtain the habits of money, then this itself is an expansion of my capacity. And that capacity is when my skills, my mindsets, and my habits get bigger, better, and stronger. So no matter who you are and no matter how you operate, this is something that we're dealing with on a constant basis every day. So if you work for me and you're in this room, you want more money, guess what? Get more value, increase your value, become more valuable, increase your skill sets, increase your mindset, show you can lead people, show you can do things better, faster, more efficient, bring change to the company. On the flip side, if I'm sitting in a situation where I run my business and I'm an entrepreneur, then I'm saying, okay, I'm not an entrepreneur, I'm an entrepreneur, now I'm responsible for everything, right? In my world, going into 2023, $6.3 million is my commitment to the year. That means if we don't sell one fucking thing next year in any of my companies, I have to come up with $6.3 million no matter what. No matter what. If you fuck it all up and you don't do shit, you fuck it all up, you fuck it all up, you don't do anything, I still have to come up with $6.3 million. So people are like, well, I want an Aventador. Well, then you need to be able to manage a $6.3 million yearly expense. And right now, you're having a tough time trying to make a commitment to your fucking cell phone provider. You can't even manage yourself to get out of fucking bed on time. How the hell do you think you're going to lead 37 full-time people? How are you going to do this? No one's going to listen to you. There's a reason you're in a position you're in. And this was a challenge for me because for a long time, I just thought everybody should have success. Then I realized that most people are unwilling to do what's required. And that's okay. Because your success is your success. You get to determine what success is for you with money, not me. I don't determine that. You determine that. If you want more, great. It's not luck. It's not luck. If you're okay with where it is, but you want a different life around what you have, that's okay too. Then you just get to own that piece. But the game of money is the most predictable game that exists of the four. It's more predictable in the body. People say, that's not true. I was like, it is true. Making money is not difficult. You and who you are and what you see is the difficulty. Period. You don't like the money you have, change who you are. You don't like the marriage you have, change who you are. You don't like the relationship you have with humanity, change who you are. You don't like the relationship with God, change who you are. Shift it, mold it, break it, become something new. The most important thing that many of you are in right now is the fact that you want to go get the money, but you won't invest in the skills required to go get it. So you keep trying to hunt down the outcome, not knowing that the way to the outcome is to become supremely valuable. When I first started as a coach and a consultant, I was $195 for 90 days. That's how much it was. That's how much I believed in myself. I'd already run my companies for 7 years, but I'd lost all of them, and I didn't have a lot of confidence in 2008, 9, 10. I was losing a lot of confidence in myself. So it was $195. I said, for $195, you can come work with me for 90 days. And over that 90 days, we'll have a call every week. And I'll put you into a pod, and we'll have a conversation with a group of other people for $195. So I made the first offer, and it sold out. I had like 40 people at $195. And I was like, this is fucking great. And then I realized what was required to do it. And I was like, oh boy, this is a lot of work for $195 per person. Now I get irritated. Irritated because I'm like, I'm on a call with one of the guys this morning. It's $500,000 a year. And I'm like, this is too fucking cheap. This is bullshit. It's total bullshit. The impact I'm making on these guys' lives is absolute bullshit. I should be being paid millions per guy for this because the outcome is fucking worth millions. This is why in reality, y'all should be paying me. You'll never go anywhere where an employer will pour into you like we are. You won't. Good fucking luck. Go find it. It's not that you can't go find value in yourself. It's just you're in a place where you have an opportunity to launch. Daniel Geyer would have never become the man he was working for anyone else besides me. No one. No one. No fucking chance. Where did we find him? We found him in fucking film school in the middle of LA, jerking himself off with a red cam and 15 of his buddies in an apartment. These guys didn't know shit. We turned him into a direct response marketer who thought and acted a certain way. He worked here for 5 years and put himself in the trench to master skills so that when he was around this environment, he had an opportunity to do what, Rachel? Grow and launch his own thing, which is great. We're super happy for him. But some people don't see this. They don't see this as the opportunity. They stand into it and they're like, oh my God, Red. They're like, I need to make all the money. No, you don't. Go pursue that path the way you were doing it and good fucking luck. Or submit, learn, grow, and recognize you should probably be paying me for the opportunity because you get to keep the skills in you for the rest of your life. And unless I find a way to tag into you financially, I don't get paid on that for the rest of my life. But you do. You're fucking welcome. This is truth. Woman learns natural beauty row hair extensions. Jackie, what happens to her abilities for life?
Use them to make money for the rest of her life.
The rest of her life. So the fact that any woman is bitching about $15,000 makes me want to fucking puke on myself. You're telling me you invest $15,000. We're going to give you skill sets that can set you free to millions of dollars. Money your husband cannot come close to making. And somehow we're an expense to you? Go fuck yourself. Anion Rivera's got a training you can go participate in. It's called the Go Fuck Yourself training. Last time I talked like this, I got fired from DKW, and I haven't even gotten rehired, and I'm probably going to get fired again. That was when I called Valerie Plunk a cunt, and that was like, you know, I was public. This is kind of public. And the interesting thing is, I don't have a problem with any of them. I think they're all great. I just think people are fucking idiots. I'm an idiot too, so that doesn't exclude me. I'm people. Very clear on this. My wife reminded me about that for 30 minutes last night, just how big of a fucking idiot I am. Over and over in different ways. Yelling, passionately. I'm surprised you couldn't hear it. You happen to hear us when we're fucking, but you can't hear us when we're yelling? What the hell?
I know, usually I can hear you guys.
All right. Yeah, you were too busy TikTok dancing with
doing dances, okay?
Do whatever you're doing. So here's what I'm going to do then. I want you to back camera out so we can get to this table one more time. I want you to look at this idea, though, around money, because as we talk about this today, as much as you don't want to make it a serious topic, it's a serious topic. Your ability to make money and your ability to keep money is a function of the business of you. Period. For example, in this situation too, well, women will tell me, well, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I manage the kids. I'm in the business of being a CEO mom. I was like, exactly. You're also in the business of weaponizing and empowering your husband. So when you don't have sex with him, guess what? You can't expect more money. You want more money? Fuck him more. Period. Empower him, encourage him, speak to him. Now, the problem is he's probably an asshole and he's not doing what's required, so it's going to be difficult to do. Because he's kind of an asshole. I get it. On the flip side, as a man, you want more success inside of your money game, money's going to have to matter. It's going to have to matter. This is one of the biggest things you're going to have to come to terms with. Sex didn't change my marriage until I could acknowledge that sex in my marriage was important to me. Once I could admit that it was important to me, then I could do something about it. Topic of money is the same. Many of you push money away. Oh, I don't really care about the money. Oh, I don't really care about the money. How many of you know have done this before? Raise your hand. Oh, I don't really care about the money. It's not really about the money. In the chat, how many of you have done this? Type in hell yes if you've done this. Where you've been like, well, it's not really about the money. Right. And 99% of that conversation has nothing to do with truth. It has to do with you being uncomfortable with the idea that having money is something that makes you uncomfortable. On one side, people celebrate you. On the other side, people take advantage of you. They persecute you. They talk shit. Let me give you an example. People walk into my neighborhood all the time. They pull into my home, and they will immediately charge me 5 times more for whatever it is they're doing. Across the street, they'll charge $3,000 for blinds. They come to my house, same fucking blinds. They'll try to charge me $30,000. I'm going to watch out all the time. Because once you have money, people think they're entitled to it. They're entitled to take it from you, including the government. Well, I can take it from you. Well, why? Because you don't know how to make it? That's not how it works. This is why people who have money get a bad rap a lot of times, because guess what they're dealing with every single day? People's entitled opinions about how much they're entitled to make based upon what they do inside of the game. This has happened to Warrior over and over again. What happened to coaches? Coaches all of a sudden thought they built what? I built fucking Warrior. The fuck you did. Good luck. Go fuck yourself. Go try and build it. Oh yeah, backpack coach. You didn't do it. Sorry about that. Good luck. Takes a whole lot more than just the ability to talk to people. To run a salon. Crystal, does this take a little bit more than just like a positive mental attitude? Does. And you experience that. And all of you as artists, it's a little harder to do natural beaded rose than just watching a training video. Yes, you actually, and just because you watched all the videos and you got certification doesn't mean you're any good, and it doesn't mean anyone's going to come to you and give you any money for it. So the art and science of money matters. It matters, it matters, it matters. It matters. Consider it. 90% of your problems go away with the swipe of a credit card. Most things you think are a problem, they're not a problem you think they are, they're a money problem. Because if you had the money, the problem would exist. Does money solve all problems? Nope. But money solves most of them. Isn't that some crazy shit? And the only people that say otherwise are broke. Oh, it's not true. That's not spiritual. Let me read you some book from the Book of Psalms. Go fuck yourself. Not listening to you. The other people that say that money doesn't matter are people who are so wealthy and about to die, they don't give a shit. And now they feel all this regret for their lives. I want you to be wealthy, but wealth itself is more than being rich. Wealth is about having all of this work at the same time. But this means that being in a money conversation has to become something normal and natural for you. Both saying, here's where I am, and then being able to clearly speak, here's where I want to go. And then here comes the fun part, being willing to do the work in between these two places to get it. Where am I for real? Where am I committed to go? And am I willing to do what's required in the middle? Or are you only going to do what's required until it's uncomfortable? I tell people all the time, you want to do what I do? You can. I wish you the best of luck. Go do it. well, I'll compete with you. I hope you do. Because if you're good enough to get to a place where you're actual competition for me, you deserve to be in the arena. Congratulations. We tell people this at DKW all the time too. You're like, if you want to go run your own salon or do your own thing, we're the first one to say, go do it. We wish you the best of luck. We're not against it. If that's what you want, you feel called to do, go do it. We want you to do that. Go do that if that's what you want to do. And if you build something successful on your own in that space, we will celebrate you. Congratulations, well done. But if you are in a situation in which you think you need more, desire more, or want more, but you've been unwilling to increase your value, this is a problem. Because now you think that the world owes you shit and the world doesn't owe you shit. You are paid in direct proportion to the value you create. You are also paid in direct proportion to the value you were willing to unleash in yourself. Many of you are putting throttles on your value. Many of you are hyping your value. You're not as good as you think you are, and others of you are extremely elite, but you don't give yourselves permission to experience it. And you can get trapped on both ends of the spectrum. How many of you get what I'm talking about? Raise your hand. So as we go into this experience, and virtually as we go and we talk about business, I want you to be in a place of just coming to terms of where you're really at with money today. Like, where are you really at with money? Not where are you kind of at. Where are you at just with the topic of money in general? We're going to do that on a breakout, and we're going to go right now for 15 minutes. We're going to talk about this. Like, where are you at before we even do the fact map? Where are you at with the topic of money? If you're here in the room, you guys are going to go to tables outside on the deck, and you're going to sit around and have that conversation. We'll go Warrior one tables and DKW, split them into 2 tables on both sides. Virtually, we're going to go 10 minutes on this share, or give me 15 minutes on this share, and you're just going to talk about it. What is true for you about money? How were you raised with money? What does money look like? What does it not look like to you? Then we're going to come back. We'll do a couple of shares, and we're going to dive directly into our fact map. If you're clear about where we're going to go on this share, type in clear in the chat so I know you're clear. Type it in the chat so I know you're clear. Type it in the chat so I know you're clear. Let's go, let's go, let's go. If you're clear in my room about where we're going to go, then get on your feet and move outside. Here we go. We got 15 minutes on the clock. In 3, 2, 1, off we go.
Uh-huh.
Hi, Lewis. Hi, John.
Good morning.
Mom.
All right. Hey, Victor.
Hey, sorry about that. I just jumped back on. I don't actually know what we're doing. The last 15 minutes, I just was closing a client. So it's funny, speaking about money.
Yeah,
all right.
just talking about it.
What are we doing?
So yeah, we're just talking about where we're at with money, our belief systems in it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and essentially exactly where we're. What is our relationship with money?
Okay. I mean, I could lead off here with
Okay.
that. For me, the making is not a problem. And it was with Warrior. It has definitely gotten a lot better. I've tackled a lot of my own stories. I used to have trouble closing and standing for people in that, but being able to attack myself and really my own stories, I can stand in that space and hold that for other people to make that decision. It's the keeping money. I tend to overinvest, or I'm like. And I think that, again, that relates into the stories that I'm now starting to see with my stacking when it comes to in growing up. It was my mom. I saw the example of, like, we're always on credit cards, we're always spending, we're always doing this. And she had no problem making money, but it was like we never had money because she always spent it too. And I feel like that's the place that I've transitioned into now when I'm trying to, like, keep it and grow it. As I think he talks. I left right as he was finishing talking about, like, keeping, so I'm guessing he talked about growing it too.
Yeah, no, it was more so about making it and keeping it, but yeah, didn't go into protecting it or growing it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So then that's where I'm at. I'm at that, like, keeping it and making sure that it's invested wisely to essentially make more of it.
Yeah. Yeah, Victor, I'm very much the same. I've got no issues with creating it. I've got one business, so I've got three businesses. One that you'd probably say is the mothership. Another one that's just probably 2 years old, that's breaking even, and then a new business that will be launched next year. Yeah, and I'm very good at making it, but what I haven't been so good is keeping it. And if you have a look at my history, I've had a number of business relationships that have faltered and have crashed. So business partnerships, and that's been very, very costly for me. Yeah, so that's something that I'm just really going to work on, and having that balance on, between sort of scarcity, not being a sort of penny pincher, call it. So that's where I'm at. It's more about making prudent decisions on keeping it,
yeah,
growing it, but also protecting it. And that's one thing that Garrett hasn't raised yet, is that protection type of thing. So I'm in a space now whereby I've really got to look at protection mechanisms, so that if something happens to me, the legacy continues. So that's where I'm at.
Yep.
What about you, John?
Oh, good morning. In regards to business, something that I realized because of the COVID-19 pandemic was about a year and a half ago, decided to literally get out of all the businesses that were starting to drain money out of my personal account. We were having too many cash calls, because obviously, even with a pandemic, COVID-19 over, there would be a hole would be so large that we would never come back and be able to make the money back. So what I decided is just label them as toxic businesses, and businesses that would not be of my interest in the future. So I've disengaged from about 6 businesses that I used to be a shareholder of, and now there's only one more business, which unfortunately there's a set of 5 restaurants, 2 which are doing very good, one that's closed, another 2 which are doing very bad. Well, I'll have to sell all of my shares of all the companies, but it's just something that one, it can't be divided up, and 2, it's creating again more cash calls now. So by releasing the previous businesses, I did feel with less weight, with less stress, and lighter. Been able to just become lighter, not with headaches or stress. And hopefully in the next couple of months, these 5 restaurants will be sold to other shareholders, or maybe even closed down. But they're still causing a lot of stress, specifically, and more cash calls.
I'm a prophet as well. So, for me, my answer.
Oh, are you going to type? Okay, yep.
For my path. I'm prophet. So, I mean, I have some money, in the month, but I've learned special. But I mean, that's my mentality. I don't even know how to have an abundant mindset. I tried, I started social business.
So it's interesting, Lewis. Two things that I see just with what you've typed there. You seem to own the story of like I run on scare. I'm like I understand you might be there now, and yeah, but you're owning the story. Like hey, I run on scarcity. Like you own it. You're not letting it go. I run on scarcity. I look for the cheapest prices and mentality. I've tried and I can't. I don't even know how. And I would say
So I have some social and have some other this will pay for itself, but when I define.
I get that.
So that I have the funds. So it's not I'm in the middle.
So I would suggest like with I'm guessing did you jump into Warrior for Warrior Con 4? Was that the first interaction you had with Warrior?
No. I have some development now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So like because it looks like the stories around that are specifically or like here's where the difference between scarcity and what Ben and I were talking about with like keeping come differentiate. The scarcity play is it's not that you're just looking for bargains and you won't invest. It's you may tend to look at it as like this is going to save me. Like you just said that here, this will pay for itself when I get clients, rather than like what do I have now? If I can't invest in that, it's not that if I can't invest in that, it's like, so realistically, if I overinvest in that, and this is kind of some of the stories that I'm starting to break through myself. If I overinvest in that right now, how is it going to affect me in this way? How is it going to affect the rest of my core four? Like I can invest in it and it's going to pay for itself. Yes. But realistically looking through, like this is where we rely on the stack and we rely on the voice of giving us like direction, bring it to God and say like, hey, is this right for me right now? Because it's okay to miss out and then I have to pay more later. Well, then later I'll have way more than that to overinvest.
So I've been doing a lot of that.
Because from what
now. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
My confidence and my ability to choose.
Because you say like I bought programs and coaches. Well, if you still don't have clients, like it's not the programs and coaches, it's you.
I love it. I love it there. I love it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And like I'm glad you can acknowledge that because that was like a hard thing for me to acknowledge. It took me like months to finally be like, oh fuck, it's me, not the programs and coaches. So I was like, well, what do you have right now? Just do that and keep doing it until you see results. And I think the fallacy that comes with the coaching industry, from what I've seen, is people think like I'm going to invest in this. They have this idea. This is going to save me. I want that life, but they don't realize all the work that has to be involved. And then they jump to the next thing. And like, I'm not saying that's where you are at.
No,
it sounds like you have the tools that you need to do. Okay. Well, there you go.
And that's my That's my
Yeah,
problem.
it's cool. I mean, like the good news is you know where it's at and you know how to fix it. It's just now fixing it, right?
That's my muscle. That's my muscle.
Yeah. And that's where the stack comes in, and like, because I've tended to resist stacking too. I got to this point of like, oh well, I've gotten so good, I've stacked so much, I've stacked over 1,000 times now, like I'm good at reframing, I don't need to stack, it takes too long. So then I stopped, and then shit started to fall apart. So like, I don't know, Ben, have you ever felt anything like that?
Just from what I'm getting in this, Lewis, is that like the foundational piece is just like living the warrior's way. Getting up in the morning, and they've just got the saying that Sam Falsafi just resonates with me is, finish your core 4 and stack before you leave the door. Like that there in itself. Like if I don't do that in a day, when I get started in the day, I'm fucked. Like I'm trying to play catch up in the day.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter what industry you're in, whether you're in the coaching industry or you run multi-million-dollar companies, or whether you're an employee. Like that just gets you in the headspace of being at peace and just knowing that you're in power getting into the day. Like I've got a friend of mine who, is just going through some turmoil at the moment, and his wife's left him, his kids don't want to know him, and I'm just encouraging him just to simply meditate and do memoirs. Start with that. That's all you need to do.
Yep.
Right. And listen, and that's just by listening to the voice. Like I'm not connected to God, but I'm listening to a higher power, listening to that voice. Yeah. Meditate, memoir. Yep. So just trust the process and just go through the warrior model.
Send it. Hey, we're going live.
All right. Business of money. So, want to get a couple shares. Find out what came up for you. I know we had some killer shares inside of our group. Let's see. Eric Patterson. Holy shit, Eric. I've not seen your face since 2020. What's up, man? How are you? I was looking over there. I'm like, God called me. He's like, hey, let's find out what Eric thinks about money these days. You're muted. I don't know if we got to mute you on our side or maybe. Try it now. We got anything?
Hello.
Hey, there we go. There we are. All right, man. Yeah. What's coming up for you in this conversation of money?
So I popped into the break room midway, but I kind of just went with it. So I'm in the financial realm myself with what I do. And so for me, I was just talking about how I'm helping people get beyond their financial limiting beliefs shifting paradigm with what I do, because with what we do is so different from the norm and what's typically out there in traditional financial planning. But at the same token, I'm also having this inner battle myself too at times, trying to stay in the abundance mindset, right? Because how I grew up was rooted in scarcity, and so it's a constant conflict that I have to stack every now and again about just keeping that mindset of just abundance, because it does get to me at times.
Yeah, so the environment of growing up in scarcity and then find yourself in abundance, and then you're teaching this other right how to end up living this life. So how's that impact you going forward? Like dealing with this game that you came from scarcity. Now you're finding some level of abundance in the game. At least you were back in 2020 when we talked. So I'm assuming you're kind of still in that game.
Right.
How's that showing up now?
Well, like for instance, this year has been the best year for me, income-wise, that I've had. And there's always a limiting belief, a cap that I put on myself, and trying to break through that, and realizing there's, this constant thought that is that really attainable? And trying to get beyond kind of the linear approach, more of you hear about 10x, right? Trying to take on that mentality. Just always, and I'm always trying to figure out how to, like I'm trying to figure out the how-tos. That's just my nature. And I get caught up in that sometimes, a lot of times actually, and not just going with my gut, with the voice, and moving forward in that way. It's like, how am I going to do this? And I get caught up in that. That limits me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it sets you in because it's based on the mindset of today. Right? Gary talked about the skill sets and the mindset. Your mindset of today has put you in the bucket that you're in right now.
Right.
And if you want that next growth, you have to let go of the mindset that got you where you're at right now, even if it's in a good place. Right? Even sitting there saying, hey, I've had the best year that I've ever had. But if you want more, you have to let go, which comes down to the mindset. But if you stay stuck in the mindset, then you don't hear God. You won't hear it because he's going to tell you how to 10x what you're doing. But flat out, your skill sets and the mindset, right, they're not there. You're not able to get to that new place. So it becomes this big surrender, right? God will tell you to make these moves, take a turn to the left in business that you won't be able to connect the dots. And because you can't connect the dots, you're like, doesn't fit the bucket I'm in. So maybe I'm not going to do that.
Right.
Maybe not going to go down that road. Not realizing that was the left turn. That God was like sitting there at 30,000 feet looking down. He's like, yep, just turn right here. You're going to fucking love it. It's going to be amazing. And you're like, no way, I'm not turning left. Doesn't even make sense. I'm going straight because straight has got, look how good my year was. Everything was great this year. So I'm going to keep going, just keep doing what I'm doing. This is working. And God's like, okay, I guess you want to play small. We'll try again next year. We'll try again. So beautiful. 2 clap. Boom. All right.
Well, you know what the answer is to make more? You know what it is. If you're in financial services, you have to get better at marketing. To get better at marketing, you have to get better at selling. In order to be good at marketing, you have to also be great at advertising. And advertising, marketing, and sales are skills. Along with those, you have to be able to speak, you have to be able to persuade, you have to be able to lead. On top of that, you have to have knowledge about money and the ability to build plans and to understand how money works and understand the psychology of money and how money flows and how money doesn't flow, what creates money, what creates wealth. You've got to understand the tactical side of planning and dealing with accounting, cash flow statements, income statements, balance sheets. You understand how contracts work and how legal works. You understand cash management is a principle. And in between all of that, we've got to learn some processes, how to build projects, how to build systems, how to automate. And we've got to find some people we can put in to be able to manage those processes and systems. And we've got to lead those people so they don't fucking fall off the reservation and then get it back on the reservation because they're normal human beings too who have fights with their spouses. And then you get a big company and you realize that you've become one giant life coach. And that's what publicly traded CEOs work with me on. How to become better life coaches at dealing with the lives of their people who are constantly falling apart because they're watching too many TikTok videos. That's it. All right, there's a lot that goes into making money. If you want to make big money, you can be a Bitcoin billionaire, good luck. because all the Bitcoin boys are now broke as fuck, and they don't know how to make money any other way. So you can learn how to make money or you cannot. But either way, your money is your money is your money, and you get to have what you want and what you desire and what you want inside of it and how you desire. Cameron, I just did the step, dude. I just did the step. There we go. Let's practice, Cameron. Look at that. Here we go. I'm doing the step. I'm scooching. Yes, sir. Now watch. I'm going to shuffle sideways. Ooh. Look at that shit. We're getting this thing dialed in. So I'm going to share with you my fact map. And again, I realize I'm going to use some numbers. There's going to be some things on this in my details. They're not yours. But I wanted to, again, just giving you a rhythm. How many of you are finding it useful when I share with you what mine are? It's helping you get a better perspective for what's possible inside of doing yours. Type in hell yes in the chat if that's happening for you. Raise your hand if that's helping you here in the room. Okay, good. So we're going to do the same thing inside of business. Some of you currently run large businesses. Some of you run businesses that are bigger than mine. Some of you run smaller businesses than mine. Some of you work for companies and you're an entrepreneur, and that's fantastic. And so you're going to become maybe limited in certain ways. Nonetheless, just take this for what it's worth as far as an activity, nothing more. Okay, all right, here we are. Let's pull up my current fact map. And here we go. Story, I am never a victim of my business. If I don't like what I see, I can always change it to be something new. Freedom, King's Cash, 5.5 million, 2022, did not hit my target of 8 million. King's Vault, 2.3 million, did not hit my target of 4 million. King's monthly recurring revenue, 142,000. My money's more potent than I've ever experienced in my life, and at times it is ridiculous when I step back and look at the world I've created for myself with money. I have millions in savings vaults to protect my family, and this habit has taken a decade to really master and make real for me and my family. I take home 4 to 5 million per year in take-home income, and this creates a life for me that blows my fucking mind when I think back to who I was as a kid and the world I grew up in. Wake Up Warrior. I have a deep sense of certainty around making money and know at 46 years of age my skills in marketing, advertising, sales, and systems are elite and allow me to do what I want, when I want, where I want, as I want. I know I have savage sales skills, speaking skills, and persuasion skills that unlock massive aspects of my life and allow me to see into a world of influence and leadership with people that empowers me to roll thousands into my visions and perspectives of the world and making money. I have savage skills in overall business, and I'm constantly stunned at how little most businessmen know about the comprehensive game of money and wealth. I've written 7 books since 2015, and these assets allow me to spread the message of Warrior far and wide. Be the Man, Warrior Book, We Live by Code, Attack with the Stack, Knock on the Door, Win the Impossible Game. I have a 300-hour on-demand home study course that empowers men to learn the Warrior's Way without me directly guiding them or coaching them, that takes them through the 4 summits. Summit 1, learn the Warrior's Way. 2, live the Warrior's Way. 3, leverage the Warrior's Way. 4, lead the Warrior's Way. I have a solid-ass Warrior app that's taken 7 years and over $8 million to create and deploy, and is just starting to open up a window and possibility for our students we have not unlocked before, and for the first time are unlocking in a beautiful way. I have a full software team with CTO in every key position needed to run the software team, and I have a roadmap that's taking us already into 2024. I have a solid right-hand man in Jeff McGregor who allows me to feel, learn, and experience the game of business, family, money in a way that I otherwise would not be able to. I have a solid ad team with GrowRev and have established a game that is unstoppable and will continue to allow us to dominate the advertising game. I finally brought on a sales team with Joey Gilkey, and for the first time, we have a small unit of men whose sole focus is outbound and inbound hunting down of the souls of men and bringing them to the Warrior's Way. I have a scalable entry offer with Warrior, and the Warrior launch is very much like a Warrior Week entrance we had for so many years, but are now able to leverage in a massive way with standards and process, and actually assure that a man learns to live the Warrior's Way. The way is designed to be lived. This program is 12,500. We already have over 100 men in this program in the first 4 weeks. I have a potent and proven mastermind model with Warrior Council, and the monthly mission is a structured strategy that I'm deeply committed to. And that $37,500 tuition is perfect for every man to step in and experience the power and potency of Warrior Association without asking for any amount that requires me to sell my soul. I have amazing one-on-one clients at $500K a year and sold out this year again. And now I have a waiting list of men that want to get into that program after I capped it out at 10, dropping 2 of them and chose to stick at 8 for 2023. I had Trevor White as the trainer, and this is a massive move for us, and his commitment to rise is not going to notice and something I deeply appreciate and honor. I have a solid lead system that produces 1,000+ qualified buyer leads every week for Warrior Wake Up Warrior with me who have ordered Be the Man and Warrior Book Bundle. I have a solid support team in Parker and Sammy. They both have been savage this year in supporting the transitions and the games I'm wanting for students to learn. I have a solid product owner. My brother-in-law, Weston, is crushing the game in his position. I'm so proud of him and the work that he's done. Bottom line, Wake Up Warrior is working in a massive way, and we are finally positioned to do some real damage in 2023 in ways I've only talked about doing. Warrior app, we launched a Warrior chat. It's not perfect, but working. We launched a note. It's not perfect, but it's working. We launched a tribe. It's not perfect, but working. We launched a new Freedom app, Notes, and it's not perfect, but working. We launched a new door with to-dos. It's not perfect, but working. We struck a deal with ClickFunnels for full API connection between Warrior app and ClickFunnels. WarriorCon 4 was epic, and we crushed that event, put on a show. That event was worth nearly $8 million to the company in 23, after investing $1.5 million to put that event on. We're on the brink of explosion, and all the work we've done for 10 years is all coming together, and 2023 is going to be the year we break 25 million. How does this freedom of business today make me feel? Excited, ready, clear, committed, happy, joyful, grateful, pumped, and enthusiastic. What have been my focus? Story 1, Warrior must lock down a scalable big-ticket offer. 2, Warrior must build a sales team to outbound and inbound the sales game at Warrior. 3, I cannot do what I'm called to do if I'm constantly outgunned on the operations side of the game. 4, the right teams will allow us to build the right machine. 5, advertising is not negotiable. It is mandatory and something I must continue to dominate. 6, in order to grow, I'm going to have to let go again and again and again. 7, Warrior's been called to liberate kings, and the kings will take it to their kingdoms. 8, the king eats first. What impact has this had on body? I have the money to hire doctors that have given me the guidance I need to weaponize my body at a higher level. The money and the profits have given me the means to invest in healthy food, supplements, and resources we need to win with my body. The shift in focus in business and the direction is leading to better nights of sleep and also a future is not dependent on Garrett's energy. What has been impact on being? I feel free. My spiritual power of letting go this year of the business has been a life-changing, life-saving experience and something I truly value. The money and the business have always supported me spiritually, but this was the first year that really switched roles and the being led the business, and that difference has been massive. I can see a path to the future that is beyond anything I could have seen before. The stack has liberated my soul and allowed me to see and experience a level of certainty that is interconnected with the business side of the game. The greatest benefit of being a warrior is the fact that in many ways I run a church, a for-profit church. But if you strip everything back, a ton of what we do every single day is a ministry, leading men to reach toward God and find the path to power, purpose, and profits. What's been the impact on business? On balance, my marriage has been pure fire this year. We took 8 trips together, half of which were business, and it gave me the fuel and fire needed to invest in my life even more. Business trips created connection for us. My family life has been funded by the business. I hired 5 full-time home team members for roughly $500K a year in salary in 2022, and this did not come free. Without the cash, there was no way to create this home team. The cash from the business funded the game with my children, allowed us to invest in coaches, trainers, therapists, and team members to support them in their passions, hobbies, and desires. The cash from the business allowed us to fund the castle, and this sanctuary has become the center of our universe and the center of our lives. The Warrior Castle will never leave us and will always be part of my family. My targets in business push my targets in balance, and the intertwined game of these two have set me free. What are thoughts you have? Well, I feel overwhelmed many days by what we've created and the pressure and the weight that comes with it. I'm also very clear that I'm standing in a place of power as a businessman that's taken 46 years to obtain. Literally everything is lined up for Warrior. The traffic, the hook offer, the conversion mechanisms, the sales team, the scalable offers, the software, the curriculum, the training and support teams, the executive and operation teams, all of it. Literally 22 years of being an entrepreneur, and I finally feel like I'm arriving at a place where I can truly win big time while still making a massive impact on the world. It's taken Warrior 10 years, tens of thousands of hours, 55,000 plus men, and $60 million invested to get to this place. The fact that I'm not only standing here, but I'm standing and have created the machine to liberate millions is mind-bending. So intense, so fierce, and I've earned every single fucking ounce of the payday that's coming. Wealth and riches come in direct proportion to the value I'm able to create for more people, more frequently, and that climax of all that's coming to a head in 2023, and I could not be more excited. Crazy that it was 10 years ago today, right now, I took the first 5 clients at $10,000 a ticket. 10 years ago today, Warrior was born in the first 90-day challenge of Michael Isom, Kerry Robards, Greg Anderson, Marty Orfice, and James P. Friel. The first original 5 in 2012, Warrior did 50,000 revenues. We've come a long way since then. Bondage. I'm working way too much. I'm gone way too much. I'm struggling to get back to the backside of Warrior to rise and match the front side momentum. I'm stuck in way too much fulfillment. I'm way underpaid for the impact and ROI I am in men's lives. I'm selling my soul with the way I do consulting, and it has to stop. I'm trying to save men on my teams, and it has to stop. I care more than my students care for themselves. I'm home too late. I'm gone on the weekends too often. I'm working 12 to 14 hours every day. I look around at men I know who are not even 20% as good as me, and they have momentum and wealth at levels that dwarf what I've created, and it drives me fucking insane. I have a $6.5 million commitment heading into 2023 with my teams and company expenses, and much of that comes in software and our push for the future that we've still not seen an ROI on. How does this bondage in business make you feel? Sad, trapped, alone, isolated, hurt, afraid, worried, and stressed. What are the stories? I must be involved or the game will fall apart. 2, my teams will not get it done if I'm not involved. 3, if I slow down, it will fall apart. 4, if I slow down, I will fall apart. 5, I have no idea how to not work, and if I slow down, I feel lazy. 6, the company will never grow the fuck up and become something that can breathe without me. 7, the marketplace is full of shit. What impact has this had on your body? Stress, frustration, anxiety. Although my body's holding together very nice, I can also feel the stress building. What impact has it had on being? No space and lack of space creates chaos for me. I'm creating a ton, but it leaves me unable to create it for my wife and children as well as the business and myself. Frustration and persecution for myself and others. What impact has it had on balance? Not enough space to be with my wife at the level she deserves. Not enough time and space to be with my kids at the level they deserve. Not enough space to be with my family, and it's fucking killing my soul. What are the thoughts you have about the reality of this bondage? It's time for a shift, and my freedom maps for 2023 are going to show this. What's my final revelation? I control my destiny, and no one else is coming to save me from what I've built in me. Lessons. I am never a victim of a business. If I don't like what I see, I can always change it to be something new. Now, every single one of you have your own experience with money and how you make it. Mine is mine. That's it. It's mine. It's not yours, it's mine. You get to have yours. And here's the fun part. The weight of yours feels just like the weight of mine. Isn't that the wildest? It doesn't feel any different. So the same stress you have about things, I have those same stresses. Just at a different level. But it feels exactly the same. Being stressed about making a $500 a month commitment is no different than making a $500,000 a month commitment. It feels the same. Just feels the same. So at a certain level, all the pressure and the stress that you feel when it comes to money, everyone else is feeling it too. Even when you think they're not. They're just facing it different. It's like the stress in having children for the first time. You're gonna find out. It's amazing and it's wonderful and it's glorious and it's stressful as fuck. And they get older and they sit right next to you and they become a different type of stress. And then they get older and they become a different type of stress. And yet, at the same time, having kids is having kids is having kids. And everybody as a parent's been stressed. How many know this is true? Raise your hand. How many of you don't even have kids and you know it's stressful for people who have kids? Yeah. So this game, as we dive into business, we're going to do one quick 6-minute share. And you're going to talk about what you just perceived and what you saw hearing me share mine. And then you're going to discuss what is coming up for you as you listen to it. And then we're going to get to work. And you're going to go off on your business one. This afternoon, these things are going to go fast, I promise you. We're going to be done with them by the time we get done today at 6 o'clock. You'll be done with all of your maps. The heaviest part is getting this set up. And then the guided meditation I'm going to guide you through is going to help you see some shit very, very clear this afternoon. So we got 6 minutes. If you're in the room, you're going to walk my block one time, just around the sidewalk one time. If you're virtual with me, you got 6 minutes. By the time they get around, the block takes about 5.5 minutes. We'll be ready to roll again. So if you're in the room, get up and go. Virtually, you're going to be in a breakout group. We're going to go 6 minutes on this share. Talk about what you just saw in 3, in 2, in 1. Off we go.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, how's it going, man?
All good, all good.
That was awesome.
It was. I'm still processing.
It was really great. I mean, all of it.
Yeah, I think that there were specifics in there, right? And there was almost an acknowledgement up front as I shot for goal. I didn't hit it, and it is what it is, right? And it got very concrete with the numbers, and then so I like that being very into what is it on the monthly income, what is it on the revenue, what cash is on hand, right? So I thought that was pretty. It was very dialed in. I like that a lot. And then the cost of that, though, right? I saw that on the flip side of the bondage, right? Here's the cost of going after all that. Here's what it's caused in the stories that are being told, and acknowledging those stories, right? What I got out of it, like something needs to change, right? It can't be all him being involved in the business all the time, right? So how do you scale that where you're not in the business? And that's just his scenario. So that's what I took out of it. I'll pause there.
Yeah, my wife and I, we both are in a place to where the business isn't working, but yet we're overworking. And I think that's created some PTSD where we're not where we're playing small and have a story of I can't. And so then there's playing to not to lose rather than playing to win. And that's kind of where we're at right now, where we need to be able to. So I liked how Garrett approached how the business is impacting him, because oftentimes you just, I've got to consistently remind myself that while someone might be producing revenue and having a great impact in the world, often it's a shit show behind the scenes on what they're having to deal with and what they have to go through, and both on all 4 domains, body, being, and balance, and business. And everyone's got their struggle, and just recognizing that, I think helps empower me.
Yeah, I think seeing both sides of his situation, the good, and then followed by the challenges that he's facing and how that's impacting his life was really helpful. Often, always think something's wrong with me when I'm facing those challenges, when everything seems to be going well. And then times like now where our industry's going through a massive shift, I almost take joy and be like, it's fun for me to deal with the challenge versus when things are good. And it just shows that there's always a challenge. It doesn't matter.
Right.
And when you have the prosperity in one side, it's okay to still have the challenges and not get down on yourself like, what's wrong with me, for feeling that way. So it was cool to see. And he always opens up with everything, but just seeing it from the money side and how there is that 2 sides to the coin in every situation, no matter what, because it's always about, expectations versus reality. And if your expectations are up here, it doesn't matter if you're right here, it still is hard. Even if it's always the relationship between those two and what you want. And it could, again, look great on the front end, but on the back end could be a totally different story. So I thought that was really cool.
There's a cost for both of it, right? Whether you're going for this target or you're going for this target, it doesn't matter. There is a price to be paid.
Yeah, for sure.
And are you willing to pay it, right?
Yeah, and I think the hours and the travel and all that, I haven't been, nor am I willing to, for a long time. And seeing that, it helps set the targets to a point where you can try to proactively not get there, and put yourself in that position. So again, it's always helpful to see. I'm a mortgage company, so we're in the midst of a lot of shit. So it's been a fun year. But again, it's not my first cycle. It won't be my last. So, let's just deal with it. And like I said before in the call, like the challenge to be abundant in a scarce situation, that's always a fight in times like this, but figure it out. So, yeah.
Be abundant in a scarce situation.
Yep.
It's a skill
It
set.
is. Yeah. Yep. And that's what I'm fighting every day, fighting that with myself, fighting that with my team. So, it's a constant battle, and you put in like the work, and the results aren't going to match up to what you're used to. It doesn't mean that work doesn't. That's where it's hard. Are you fooling yourself that this work's going to pay off long term when you don't see the immediate results, or are you doing the right thing and building for that pop at a certain point? And that's always a challenge when it's a falling market. So we'll see.
How about you, Greg? What industry are you in?
Management consulting. So I do a lot of business IT consulting. Work for a lot of worked in a lot of the management consulting space here for a while. Work for a firm, and then now I just do it freelance. So independent, but my consulting goes bye-bye, then or my client goes bye-bye, then it could be a bad day for me, right? But it's transferable skills too.
Okay, so topic of money. Topic of money. Where are we at? What are you seeing here?
That, you know, no matter what level you're at, it's always going to be stressful. And it also ignites like a fire in me to do more and work harder. You're always going to have problems met at every bit along the way. That's just part of the game.
Mm-hmm. There's a piece where you have to get committed to just the feeling and that pressure of growing. Because it doesn't go away. It's the same pressure. Every jump, it's the same pressure. Same pressure, same pressure. Danielle and I went from renting a home in Arizona for $2,200 a month to renting a home in Ladera Ranch, California for $7,500 a month to renting a house in Dana Point for $15,000 a month to buying a house in the Strand for $40,000 a month to buying a $22 million home in the Strand with a $100,000 a month mortgage. Every 2 years, the leap was happening over a decade. Every time, guess what it felt like? Oh, fuck, here we go. Every jump in a business, from Danielle being like a hairstylist by herself to hiring a first assistant, that same feeling of having to pay someone, it's like, it's nerve-wracking. First time that you run ads, you're like, oh my God, I'm running ads. This is stressful, right? So every environment, it feels that way. All of you are going to have that experience. You're all going to be in that experience. There's no getting away from the experience. So people that think they can step into a place where they can have bigger results inside the game of money, but they're not willing to take on that pressure and they're not willing to take on that new level of that experience. Because the first times you do it, you don't know, you're kind of ignorant. Then you do it again. It's like Jackie having baby one, you don't know what you're getting into. Once you have one, then you're like, ah, shit, next time if you get pregnant, you're like, oh man, I know exactly what I'm getting into. It's the same situation in business. Once you make a move with money and you learn how to make it, you realize to get to the next level, you have to let go again. And the crazy part is when you have nothing, it's simple because you're fucking broke. So you're like, I have nothing. I got nothing to lose. I'm working at Vans. What the fuck else am I going to do? Got nothing to lose? Fuck it. Work at McDonald's for $19 an hour. Fuck it. Here we go. Or I make a leap when I'm at $4,000 or $5,000 or $6,000 a month. You want $100 million? You want $100,000? You want $500,000? You got to stop hanging out. You can stop hanging out. You have to build yourself to be a fucking weapon, son. And as fun as date nights are and all the rest of it, unless it's savage, you have to settle. Settle. But to have the aspiration and the unwillingness to build the skills is a suicide mission. Drop your expectations or raise your fucking commitment. Get the fuck up at 4 a.m. Don't think about being wealthy. Do it. Period. Or reduce your expectations and just tell me you don't want it. And I'm okay with that. Because if you don't want it, then I could just love you as my son. But if you do want it, then I'll run your ass until you get it. Because you should get it in half the time I did. But who gets to make that decision? Myself. You do, right? Doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter. In my world, if you want to grow, I'm going to help you out. If you don't want to grow, that's okay. Just tell me what you're after. Because I'm now at a season in my life where I'm done wanting for people what they don't want for themselves. I'm also done caring for people more than they want to care for themselves. You don't want to care for your life? That's fine. Do you? Die. Don't care. I don't know if it's because I'm now 46, almost 47. I don't know if I've just gotten a few too many gray hairs I've had to shave off my back. I don't know what the situation is. But I know I'm in a place where I'm like, people are going to want what people are going to want, and they're going to pursue what they want, and they can get what they want if they're committed to getting what they want. But I can't want it for you. That's why in the conversation of business with hairstylists and dealing with our artists, you're either going to figure out how to market or you're not. That's it. So Delaware, you're going to figure it out or you're not. You're either going to rise and become a CEO here or you're not. That's it. That's it. If you want it, it's there. If you don't want it, well, someone else will be brought in to take it. Period. You know this and I know this. You have a path to it if you want it, but guess what's going to have to happen with your skills? They're going to have to raise the fuck up is what they're going to have to do when it comes to dealing with people, process, influence, and persuasion. Your backside game's not in question. Your frontside game is fucking scattered. It's fucking scattered, and it's going to cost you money, and it's going to cost the business money if you don't raise the fucking standard. That means you investing in opportunities to raise your skills, not me. That means you hiring coaches, not me. That means you going to speaking workshops, not me. That means you studying persuasion, not fucking me. That means I don't fucking fund it, Jeff. You do. Why? Because you want more. You want it. This can't always be a I'm on the warrior tick game. I'm not going to babysit all you fuckers. You're either going to choose this shit for yourself and invest in yourself to grow like I did, or you're not. But here's what I'll tell you if you're on Warrior Team. The new breed is coming. You three are a representation of a new breed, which is we don't just let people play here anymore. You come fucking try out with 90 other guys who wanted to try out. If you're the fucking best, prove it to me. I don't believe what you tell me. Fucking show me. The end. Rhett, you got a window. You're in a window right now. You either step through the window or you don't. I'm cool either way. I hope you step through it, but I can't make you step through it. If you choose to not step through it, it'll be just like we have with Corbin. Corbin didn't step through it. I let him go in 1 week. 1 week. He lasted 1 week. Goodbye. I'm not going to drag fuckers around here anymore. You're either going to rise or guess what? Goodbye. It's not personal. I got 5 kids. I got a wife, and 2 businesses. And we got thousands of customers we need to serve. And if you want to be here, guess where we want you, Jackie? Here. But if you don't want to be here, guess where we want you? Wherever that is. Go to that place. It's like people who sit at Warrior and they bitch. Well, I don't like how Garrett does this. I don't know how Garrett does that. Then fucking leave. To stay and bitch about it is ridiculous. Just leave. It's like being in a relationship where you just want to bitch about your partner all the time, but you don't do anything about it. Stop fucking talking. You obviously like it. How do you know? You're still there. If you wanted to change your situation, you would change it. So stop fucking talking about change and show me. Stop fucking talking about money problems. Fix it. Some of you on here, I've been listening to you and your money problems for 2 or 3 years. 2 or 3 years. You've come to 7 or 8 fact maps. You've had the same stupid ass conversation about money with yourself over and over again, and shit is not changing. Whose fault is that? Type it in the chat. Whose fault is it? Whose fault is it? Type it in the chat. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. That's why I can sit in the front row at a $250,000 event for 6 days for the year. I sit in the front row, and the first day, I'm not super impressed by the event. It was okay. But I'm sitting in the front row. I'm having my experience. In the first 45 minutes, I make back my money 4 or 5 times over on the $250,000 I invest in. People are like, how's that possible? I say, because I'm not waiting for anyone to fucking save me. I'm not waiting for somebody to rainbow paint the fucking path to success. I'm committed to getting to the top of the motherfucking mountain, regardless of who comes with me. You want to come? Let's fucking go. You want me to drag you? Fuck yourself and get off my back. You want to run? Let's go. You want to puke with me up the mountain? I'll puke with you up the mountain. You want guidance and help? We'll give it to you. But if you just are looking for a place to hang around and just feel sorry for yourself with a bunch of other pussies that want to feel sorry with you, you can do that for free. There's lots of social networkings. You can just hang out and be with a bunch of pussies that don't do anything. If you're not looking for accountability and standards where we hold you to a place that actually matters, and that's here at Warrior, no problem. Go work somewhere they don't give a fuck about your life. And you can just go to work, and you can work, and nobody gives a fuck about what you do with your body. Don't give a fuck. Get fat, diabetic, and fucking die at 52. They don't give a fuck, Weston, and you've already experienced this. They'll fire you the minute they don't need you. Or you can look at this as the greatest opportunity you've ever had in your entire life. Because fit Weston, that dude's scary. That's scary. That's a scary guy. You're going in the right direction. That's a scary guy. And that guy, interestingly enough, his bank accounts look different. Because the same habits that got you successful there are the same habits that work over here. The habits that got you to learn code will help you with your fitness. Because it's a mindset. Fuck this, I'm gonna figure this out. Fuck this, I'm gonna figure this out. If you get what I'm talking about, raise your hand. Hands down. I know for my teams, you guys are filling out a little left out. You want to play Uno, play a little ass grab, play a little doll head beer pong. Go fuck yourself. We're not playing any of that shit. You're going to work. I'm in charge now. You're going to work. You're going to work, and you're going to work, and you're going to work. And the minute it doesn't work for you to work anymore, Rachel, guess what time it'll be? Time to go. But until that time, guess what I'm going to expect? Work. And the most important work I'm expecting you to do today is what kind of work? On myself. On you. I'm sorry. Apologize for caring so much about you. We could just get canoes and have a rope climbing activity, call it team building. Could just go ride some canoes. All right, guys, what did you learn about teamwork sitting in the canoe together? Oh my God. Not a goddamn thing is what I learned. This is a fucking waste of time, but sure glad we got paid today. You got a chance. Online, at home, you got a chance. Also, how many of you at home can see how I'm framing the shit out of my teams? Type in hell yes into the chat if you can see this. Type in hell yes in the chat if you can see this. This is a dual experience for me. These are my people here, and you're my people. But these are my people. You're my people too. You're just my different people. These are my people. You're my people. These are my get hammered on Friday night at the house Christmas party people. You're my people. These are the people who watch my wife pass out on the fucking couch on Friday night. You're my people, and these are the people, half of which will be puking in toilets by 2 a.m. at my house. And here's what I would tell you. Wake Up Warrior team is far more controlled with their tequila game than the DKW team. I can verify this with 100% certainty based on the Halloween party. Walking around my house going, my goodness, every single one of my toilets has somebody puking in it. Every single one. And I walked around, I was like, not warrior. Warriors was like, we handle our shit. These DKW girls are crazy. I was like, I know.
To be fair, you're someone who plays champagne beer pong.
Hey, I know. I get it. It's all Parker's fault. It always is. He's like our crossover. He can't figure out if he's DKW or Warrior. He's a bit of an asshole bridge. He just kind of fucks everybody up on both sides. All right, here we go. We got time on this. Before we do, though, we're going to get ourselves grounded. Go ahead and sit back in your seat. To my own credit, it's your son's fault. That does not surprise me at all. All right, here we go. Close your eyes. At home, close your eyes. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. And release. Deep breath in. And release. Deep breath in. And release. God, as we get started into this conversation for today, and particularly around the game of business and the game of money, for many of the men and women here in this group, this is a very sensitive topic. It's a struggle. It's a frustration. It's something that's plagued them for many of them their whole lives. And they've not been able to get out of this loop, no different than me or so many others who've come before me, who have found a way out and around this. And Father, today, as we go into this particular activity, I would ask that your spirit would be here, that the energy of certainty would be here, that there would be some clarity in this conversation and this experience for each individual, that it would be so customized that they wouldn't be comparing themselves to me or to anyone else, but that there would be a willingness to just get really honest about where they are right now with money, that they would get honest about where they are in their skills in making money. They get honest with themselves about where they're in freedom currently with their money and with their position and their jobs or their businesses, and they would get real honest with themselves about where they're in bondage, where possibly they're a slave to the business or a slave to their jobs, or possibly not making the money that they want, or there's a frustration in how the money's been played out. But regardless of what it is, Father, that you would give them the courage to put down the truth, and that over the next 40 minutes, that truth itself would pour itself through onto the pages of their note, and that in that technology, as to each keystroke, that you would inspire them to write things down that maybe they're not even considering, that truths would unfold on top of truths and on top of more truth, and that as that truth unfolds, there wouldn't be a feeling of shame or guilt or worry around what they're seeing. That instead, what would be replaced is this energy of confidence of, okay, here's where I am. This is where I'm at. I'm here right now. And that with that today, as we go into the visions of what can be possible, and we start here with the game of money after the foundational map, that as we move into that their commitment here would transcend itself into the visions that they have had in their hearts. Many of them have been terrified to even acknowledge that exist, terrified to admit that they want these things or desire them. That, Father, their courage to go all in on this first part would open up the visions of beauty on the second part here later this afternoon, is our prayer as we get started this day. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, so online, you have got 40 minutes to work this through. Open up your device. We are rolling through this. If you're clear about where we're going to go, type in clear into that chat. Type in clear into that chat. Ooh, we're testing it out. Let's see how we do. You got me, Cameron? What we got? You got it? Is it working? There it is. Oh, I'm in the wrong spot. There we go. All right, yes, there you are. You got it clear in the chat. All right, beautiful. You guys have got 40 minutes on this. We're going to turn some music on. If you want to listen to this music, fantastic. Otherwise, you can listen to your own music. We're going to post the clock up. You'll be ready to roll on this. 40 minutes to work on your business side of this. Here inside the room, we're going to do the same thing. You guys got 40 minutes. So pop your devices. 3, 2, 1. Off we go. All right, welcome back. Hope you guys are done working by yourselves. Now it's time for us to talk about it. How many of you got some insights just doing your current work by yourself? Type in me in the chat. Type in me in the chat if you got that already going for yourself. Type in me. There were some questions that came up with King's Cash, King's Vault, some of these questions. We're going to discuss that when we come into our freedom maps. Not so worried about it at this point. Some of you are new to that topic. Some are not new to that topic. Either way, we're going to be good to go. So we got 20 minutes. You're going to be sharing this. We're going to go on a breakout with the entire group. We're going to come back. We're going to discuss it. I'm going to set the stage for where we're going to go with our impossible game freedom maps in business after lunch. But right now, we got 20 minutes. Each person's got a chance to run down what their map is. If you're clear about where we're going to go here for the next 20 minutes, type clear into the chat so I know you're clear. Give me clear. Excuse me, clear up in that chat. Clear up in that chat. Oh, we're coming back here for this little front cam right here. And as you share, again, you've got an opportunity to dive into what is working, not working, freedom and bondage. Be honest. Part of the talking part here is as important as the actual experience of typing it up. So, ready to roll. We got 20-minute breakout happening in 3, in 2, in 1. Off we go.
There we go. What's going on, guys?
I think she would be able to figure out like where that is.
Kevin, I got you.
It muted me when I came in.
There we go.
Rob, root in the business domain, what are the ways you are free today and why? All right, so today I'm free as I have just closed a $39,000 deal and have another $36,000 lining up before the end of the year. I have over 50K in cash, and I'm starting to reestablish my relationship with becoming financially free. I have a coaching group together which will generate another $12,000 in a real estate development business that has the ability to bring in one of my most profitable years in 2023. I'm feeling the compounded effects of doing the work consistently for the past 284 days since joining Warrior in February of this year. My goal of hitting 6 figures in the last quarter are becoming a reality, and I am eternally grateful for staying with the process of learning, living, and applying every day. How is this making me feel? Empowered, certain, relief, security, worthy, love, joy, happiness, excitement, optimistic for the future. My focus this year, after losing a sales force of over 1,000 people at the end of 2021, was to double down on myself and build a strong foundation of wealth, abundance, and prosperity. My focus was to break through my scarcity mindset and get organized, structured, and get clear on who I serve and how I can serve their highest good. What impact has freedom in business had on my body? Being able to work from home and co-create with God has made working on my body a very simple and effective place for me to embrace. I can work out anytime I desire while I'm getting things done, which helps me to feel stronger on a day-to-day basis. Freedom in my being domain. To me, building a business is like raising a baby that is a perfect reflection of myself. Any place that I may be lacking in the business is going to be very clearly shown to me, or is going to very clearly show me what I get to address and resolve. If I choose to ignore anything about my business, God will show me what it is I'm not addressing, which to me is a spiritual experience with God. Freedom in business on balance. After my queen and I totally lost both of our incomes with the business we were building, it gave us the opportunity to step into the unknown and focus on our calling of coaching and getting deeper into our purpose. This has been a year of rebuilding and refocusing our energy into areas that have forced us to both rise together. With other thoughts, what other thoughts do you have about the reality of this freedom in business and its effects on your life? The other realities around business that come up for me is that it was necessary for the other business to dissolve so that I could truly step into who I am meant to be. And it's forced me to apply the parts of myself that I had been neglecting and help me create different skill sets that before I did not apply. I figure we'll just go into bondage next, but if you guys want to go next with your thing. I'm complete on the first part.
I'll jump in here real quick. The fruit of this year was financial freedom, freedom of time, VIP Disney trip with my family, bought a Ferrari, peace of mind, and ability to do in life what I'm passionate about. How does this affect in terms of feeling proud, confident, accomplished, worthy, free, peace of mind, and grateful? Stories I tell myself is kind of how I address this one. I've earned this freedom. God has chosen to bless me. Now I'm going to enjoy the money and bless my family. How does it affect my body? So that it's provided me the money to meet with Dr. Boyd and have peace of mind and a game plan for better health going forward. I have a gym in my house that removes any excuses to not stay healthy, and it has allowed me to hire a trainer to basically kick my ass. It's all God's money, and for whatever reason, He's chosen and entrusted me with abundance. Tithing, which has supported my church and those that Jesus has calls me to touch, and freedom of time to basically get more time with the Lord. Why is this shit hard to talk about? Like, I feel embarrassed reading this, but anyway. That's
great, man.
That's
great.
bondage. That's bondage. That's the next section.
All right, yeah.
Balance. I've been able to not deny my wife anything in 2022. I've said no to her for anything the entire year. I'm able to put my kids in private Christian school. Incredible first-class trips with my family that only money can provide. And freedom for my wife to be a full-time mom for our 4 kids and basically do anything she wants. And then my final thoughts are, it's completely changed my life, financial freedom. It's allowed me to be with my family or not. It has allowed me the freedom to be able to fuck off and just watch movies or play video games if I choose, or actually do something productive with my life. And it's actually just allowed me to finally enjoy money. That's what I've got.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah.
Good job.
Awesome. Yeah. Hey, I'll go if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
Apologize for no camera. I'm in a windstorm on cellular, so if I turn it on, I go away.
Okay.
All right. So freedom. Looking at my fruit in business, what ways am I free? I am given the power and resources to make decisions for our company. I have the capacity to grow my market and have been given and educated in ways to get what I want and grow the company. I have a support system of leaders, our CEO, CFO, and COO that I look up to, and I'm proud to call my mentors. I have gone from financially unstable to stable for the first time in my career in the last 2 years. How does this make me feel? On fire, motivated, excited. What has been my focus in business? Lessons from my mentors have opened my eyes to a broader vision of where we are going. I have relieved myself of making daily tactical decisions to focus on long-term goals of our organization. I've learned to evaluate my thoughts or ideas in business before implementing them. Spending time with my leaders has enlightened me into what we are actually trying to do, and this has given me a fire and desire to get there with them. What impact has this had on my body? Having this holistic view on the industry has also made me look at my body as a whole. The foundation of our organization is strong. Is my body that strong foundation I want? Not quite, but I see the path towards that. What impact on my being? This has also broadened my view of my relationship with God.
I used to pray tactfully, asking for small things to benefit my life, things for my kids, similar to the tactical decisions I made at work. I now look at eternity and how I want my life to look in 30 years, not just next week. What impact has this had on my balance? This broader vision has allowed me to structure my day in a way that I can help my wife and be there for her more. 3 kids and a ton of animals is a lot of work, and I can now see how big of a burden that was on her. Seeing the big picture of where we are going helps me make informed decision on where my family is going as well, and also making more time for them. Freedom in business. I've grown from making daily decisions abroad, high risk, high return meetings and callings. Now that I have our vision in mind, I can be strategic in how I operate on a daily basis. I won't fail if I keep our core values and vision at the tip of the spear. That's what I got.
Nice, dude. Great work.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. You're up, Marcos.
Cool. Hey guys, can I go straight into bondage?
Yes, sir.
You don't want to share the first part?
I screwed up. I messed it up. It's weird, but anyways. Hey, David, really quick. Dr. Boyd, I saw him speak yesterday on the WC4 video. That guy's amazing.
Yeah,
he was very powerful.
And I'm hoping so.
How much does it cost, like his program to just to get checked out?
Just to get checked out is $15K.
Okay, $15K. Yeah, I figure it's something like that. Yeah.
No.
Awesome. All right, guys, I'm gonna go straight into bondage.
Go for it.
Our bondage. Looking at your fruit in the business domain, in what ways are you in bondage today and why? I'm comfortable right now, but lately my vision and the calling is getting louder and more uncomfortable to ignore. If I don't walk through the door, I will experience my biggest fear of not fulfilling my potential. I'm positive the action will come, even though I'm scared, but I need to focus on the movement and the impact. How does this bondage in business make you feel? Like a hypocrite, coward, lonely, less worth, shame, anxious, overwhelmed, sad. What has been your focus in business over the last 6 to 12 months that produced this bondage? Not taking action, overwhelmed, not playing 100%, lying to myself. What impact has this bondage had on your body and domain? Stress, lack of sleep, emotional eating, lack of energy. What impact has this bondage had on your being domain? I feel suffocated, like I'm wasting my life away. I feel like God has forgotten about me and my purpose. I want to be me again, bold, courageous, and loving. What impact has this bondage had on your balance domain? I disconnected from my sisters and mother and father. I used to be a pillar for them. Then I quit on them. I didn't want the responsibility because I felt taken advantage of. What other thoughts do you have about reality of bondage in business and effects on your life? I feel anxiety and scared that the window will close on me. But that's bondage.
Nice, dude. All right.
Awesome.
Yeah, great work. Freaking bondage. All right, here we go. Bondage. The areas I'm in bondage are around my accounting and past taxes. I've submitted taxes for 2019, 20, and 21 for both of my businesses, but I continue to not follow up and finish this process. I continue to neglect my responsibilities when it comes to past money due to the IRS, and it continues to be a place where I leak energy and efficiency. I have a deep-seated fear here that once I do my taxes, I will not have enough. I also have back taxes of about $60K that for some reason stopped getting paid a couple of years ago from an automatic payment draft I had set up. I'm not sure where I am at. I am not sure where I am at with this. And when it stopped paying, I just let it go. I'm still working on outsourcing and hiring other people to support me. I tend to feel like I need to do everything myself, which overwhelms my ability to produce what I'm really good at. By not finding the right team to support what it is that I'm doing, I hold myself back from scaling and limit my ability to really grow outside of my box. How does it make me feel? Disempowered, scared, lack, scarcity, fear, shame, guilt, pain, doubt, worry, anxiety. What has been my focus in business the last 6 to 12 months in bondage? For the last 6 to 12 months, my bondage in business has been trying to do things my way and not trusting that there are other people, systems, and processes here to support my creations. I continue to default to my old habits and patterns of feeling unworthy and undercharging for the value I give. I tend to just want to give everything away that I produce, which in turn limits my bank account significantly. What has it impacted my body? I find when I'm stressed about money, I will overeat at certain times and not feed my body the best of foods. I use food as a coping mechanism for the stress and fear around money, which in turn feeds into my unworthiness conversation around not being good enough. Impact on being. When I am not charging what my time is worth, I prevent God from giving me and allowing myself to receive the infinite abundance that is available to me. I'm literally blocking God out of my life and fueling my scarcity. And I'm not good enough. Am I not good enough conversation? How's it impact balance? With my queen not producing, has created a tremendous amount of uncertainty in her. She doesn't feel safe, and she is scared that I may never wake up to who I am because of my continuous self-sabotage. We recently had a blowout about a month ago about how she wasn't sure if she could trust me as a partner and was afraid to get married and have kids with me. This ignited one of my greatest fears and caused me to wake up to the fact that she was showing me how I continuously sacrifice myself at the expense of our relationship. What are my other thoughts about bondage in business? I see how my deeply embedded limiting beliefs of not being worthy continuously gets in the way of me generating and keeping money in my life. I see how not managing and avoiding my responsibilities around money causes me to create more scarcity and block my flow of receiving from God. I'm complete.
Nice work. Nice work.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, bondage. Fruit of bondage. Still suffer from scarcity mindset. My mouth needs to learn to shut up. Afraid to have conflict with my management company. Very little deal flow. No real intention with my social media. Still can't justify the cost of certain things based on the scarcity mindset. So even if I want it, I won't buy it. Embarrassment of speaking about success and playing small. How's it make me feel? Guilt, angry, resentful towards those that try to take advantage of me. How has it affected my stories? If I challenge my management company, they will quit. I don't want to put myself on another job as an owner of a management company, and it's going to take 6 months to get this management business up and running. Bondage in my body, stresses and anxiety in my being. Scarcity has caused me to play small, and some kind of strange shame for actually having money. Balance. The conflict or the bondage has caused me to make my wife feel guilty or shame for the things that she buys. And what other thoughts do I have? It's still hard for me to believe that I have financial freedom. It's difficult for me to define when enough is actually enough to just relax. That's me.
Nice work. Nice work. Derek,
Awesome. Thanks, David. You bet. I'm here, guys. So I'll do mine here real quick. Looking at my fruit and business, in what ways do I see bondage? My new role as of this year, I have more freedoms than I've ever experienced. There are days I feel on fire and a total weapon. And there are days where I think to myself, what the fuck did I even accomplish? What was the measurable to that trip? What did I contribute to my team today? I'm still working through how to measure my work. I can see a lot of what I do today won't be measured for months, even years. And it's been a struggle to see that holistically. How does this bondage in business make me feel? Days I feel great, and other I feel confused as to what I'm even doing. I do everything with the company's best interest in mind, but not seeing instant success or measurables is very tough for me. What has been my focus in business? I gave the keys to the first location I built over to a guy under me, very well deserved. But I'm very proud of what I built there. My sweat and blood's there, so it was hard to let go. I began looking at other markets, things that were foreign to me, made great headway, but the game is different in a new market. I had no contacts. It's been a struggle and also a great challenge, which I do love the challenge. What impact has this bondage had on my body? Being on the road more has had negative effects on my diet. Sometimes it's easier to just grab a gas station snack than an actual meal, and my body suffers for that. It's an easy task to regulate. I just haven't made it a point to do so. Impact on my being. At times, this pulls me further away from God. When I have a ton on my mind, sometimes I let my faith fall to the background. The tired and no time excuses have reared their ugly fucking heads at time, and I need to break those chains. I am saved and need to keep that at the center of my life. What impact has this bondage had on my balance? This has pulled me away from my family for extended periods of time. I feel like I'm dealing with it okay, but I haven't asked my wife if this is actually the case. I know she misses me when I'm gone, and I miss her too, but I need her to evaluate my performance. And she has no problem telling me exactly what the fuck she feels. Bondage in business. Bondage is both a burden and a new challenge for me. I'm excited to grow and do new things and scared of it at the same time. I simply don't want to fail. And doing new markets and foreign marketing is scary at times. I'm up to the task, however, I simply need to increase my vision and capacity to be successful. So that's me.
Awesome, dude. Great work. Nicholas, you want to go?
Yeah, guys, I'll go. I was in another meeting with insurance agents, and I got out of that sucker as fast as I could to get back to you guys. We're reviewing the business fact map. Is that correct?
Yep. Freedom and bondage, if you want to do both.
Okay, good. Freedom. So the fruit and bondage, or just bondage?
We did the bondage. We did the freedom first, and then the bondage second. Yeah, fruit and
Your
bondage.
choice. We got 1 minute, and
Yeah, you got one. You got
almost
like
2
2 minutes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, thanks. I
Your
didn't see the
choice.
clock. Bondage. The business or my fear of failure has taken everything from me. My body being in balance, I devoted 100% of my heart and mind into the business. And because of that fact, everything else has suffered. I'm thanking God for saving me from that destruction. How does bondage in business make me feel? Sad. Sad that something so beautiful could also wreck me from the inside out. Focus in business that produced the bondage. Drinking. I was drinking 5 to 7 drinks a night for the last 4 years. I cut that shit out 2 months ago as my ticket, my being ticket to come to WarriorCon 4. Praise God for it. What impact did bondage have on my body? My body was a wreck. I started drinking 5 years ago. It made it worse. I believed the lie that I was doing it all on my own. So I turned to alcohol to sedate, and I put on the 50 pounds. It's gone off and on 10 times over and again, but in the gym every single day now and turning that around. What effect is bondage on being? I told the CEO of the universe that I can do it on my own. How could I? Previously, that is. Pride and sin exacerbated by alcohol led me to believe all the lies. Bondage on balance. My wife and kids came last. I put them last. They were the obstacle to my success, not an accelerant. I fucked this one up real bad. And I'm very sorry for how I fucked that up. And I'm ready to gamify my balance game and win with my family. I will build a family legacy that lasts forever. What's the bondage in business that affects my life? The money became the king of the throne of my heart. Since WarriorCon 4, I've removed the money for the throne of my heart, and I put the King of Kings and Lord of Lords back on the throne of my heart, right where he belongs. God is teaching me how to let go of the money.
You did it, dude.
Awesome, man. Great share.
Nice work. nice work.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
See you in the room.
All right, gentlemen. We'll see you on the other side.
See ya.
Nice.
Come on, muscles.
All right, welcome back. Let's find out where you guys are at. We just dove deep into the money game. Right? A lot of you guys have an interesting attachment to money. A lot of you guys have stories that you say you want money, but you actually have patterns and habits that don't actually put you there. So just very interested to find out what actually came up for you. Where are you guys actually at in this game right now when it comes to the conversation of money? Jamie Hernandez. Jamie Hernandez, man. Let's find out where you are at. Go ahead and bring Jamie up on the screen. There he is.
Run a huddle. Give me about 3 guys. Let's pick 3 guys.
I'll just do 3. All right, we'll do a little huddle. We'll do a huddle. There we go. Let's see. Charles Marbles. Why did I just say your last name wrong? Marbus. Charles. I think I still said it wrong. Scott White. Scott White. Go ahead and bring you up as well.
And one more. Give one more.
And one more. Let's see. Let's go. Let's change over page so we can get another one in here. Morgan Mead. Morgan Mead. I'll bring you up on here as well. He's over on page 2. Need a little assistance there. All right, perfect. So let's go around the horn. Jamie, where you at, man?
Yeah, so where I'm at right now, I'd say my business has certainly created much more freedom from where I was a year ago or even 5 years ago. Started my business 5 years ago, and the state that I was living in, I was able to jump states and move to a state that I desire to be in the neighborhood I desire. It's still to this day mind blowing. I'd say right now, I'm happy, excited, and proud of where I'm at right now. The past 6 to 12 months, so I've realized that I've been a hustler and trapped in my business where I'm not consistent. I don't show up consistently with my family, connecting with God. So naturally, it's really just tearing down all the processes that I built. And I poked a bunch of different holes in those processes, and I'm just trying to rebuild because I would just try to take those processes and try to make them a bit better. I just decided just to start all the way over. And just figure out how I can build something that's much more scalable, something that's going to build a business so I could invest more in myself and my family, in being able to connect with God versus me just being overwhelmed on a day-to-day basis. So that's where I'm at. I'd say the biggest revelation that I have with everything is that I just need to be able to find the solutions, deliver value, get through those obstacles, and just really triple down on myself and my business, because that is the fuel for the lifestyle that I want, and truly what I want for myself as well. So I have that choice. I just need to take the actions on a day-to-day basis to get those results, or else none of this exists. None of this moves forward.
Yep. You got to be able to take the actions on a daily basis, or none of it else will matter. You won't accomplish any of it. And there's some power in it, because you brought up the identification of all the other quadrants, right? This is why we do the fact maps the way we do them. That's why we go through all those other levels, because you can't just build in an isolated chamber. Yep. So, beautiful share. Thank you, Jamie. Charles, what you got, man? Go ahead and unmute on, I think you're muted on your side. You're still muted on your side.
There we go. Good.
There we go. Got you now.
Yeah, 2022 has been a very interesting year. I fell very far short in regards to what my fact maps were set at the earlier part of the year. So it was more of a year of survival. There was definitely a portion of growth that happened, especially when I worked with you in War Room. My wife and I were able to make a really big push, and you helped me shatter some really interesting mindsets around where I found security and recurring revenue. And when you talked about creating active versus passive revenue, I was obsessed with the idea of just reoccurring passive. And when we began the conversation of active revenue, it was in August, we were doing about $17,000 a month in reoccurring revenue. And then when we started working with you and kind of pushing the front lines over the next 3 months, we ended up doing, I think it was $112,000 in revenue. So, I mean, we were pushing $30,000, $35,000, $40,000 months.
Whoa! You just got a 2 clap. You know what to do, virtual. You know what to do. Give Charles some fucks. Give him to it. There we go. Look at all those. Those are all for you. How does it feel?
I heard Coach in the back. That's pretty sweet. But you know, when I look back at the difference between that, not only was it shattering a mindset, it was just a lot of stagnation and mental masturbation. It was like, I need more information, you know, and I was just sitting on my hands. And when we were working together, it was just taking consistent action, putting together offers. And you said something too along the lines like, you know, if they don't have an offer to purchase, they're never going to buy anything. So we're putting together different offerings, higher level offerings, you know, getting out there, exposing, doing marketing, just doing whatever we can to push the message. So it was an interesting personal year for us. My brother-in-law was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. I lost my dad this year. We lost another brother-in-law at the age of 47 to cancer. And that all happened in a very short period of time. So when I say it was kind of a year of survival, there was massive growth, but also survival. So emotionally surviving while trying to push forward. And when I look at the targets I set for my fact maps last year, I kind of look at them and say, man, this year was a fucking disaster. But there definitely was a lot of positives that came from it. So, I mean, life hits you from all kind of crazy angles. I know that to have the year that I want to have, it's just going to be a lot of what I manifested in the last 3.5 months is what needs to happen in 2023. Otherwise, it's never going to happen.
You've generated something we are all searching for, which is momentum.
Absolutely.
It's momentum. And in that space, like Charles, we haven't even got into it yet, but can you see what's possible now going into when you start to think about what's going to be 2023 for you because of the momentum and what you have been willing to do up to this point in the last 3 months, this last quarter, right, compared to the older Charles?
100%. Well, I look back and say, like, what the fuck were you thinking? And when you're sitting there at $17,000 a month, like, it took one conversation and one decision with you inside that environment to just put it all on the line, and it worked. You just have to keep doing that day in and day out.
What the fuck, Chuck? I don't know if Garrett's mic's on, but he just said, "What the fuck?"
I heard it. He's still mad at me for changing my
name. I like
name.
the voice of God, bro. I'm like in the back. Like, what the fuck, Chuck? You can't even find me. I'm like hiding behind the pole.
He's hiding behind the cameras. They can't even see him. Dude, well done, brother.
Congrats, brother. Congrats.
I've been proud to watch you as you have risen up to this place and where you're going to take this, because I know you dealt with a lot of other shit. And it's a good thing to also point out, like, we'll create these visions and these ideas and things, and even in War Room, like, we're crushing it. You're seeing these things, but life is going to life you. Like, shit's going to happen, and your commitment level to actually keep going when something goes wrong, when things don't line up, like you have this beautiful little plan mapped out, and then all of a sudden this happens over here. All too often, we start out with this great intent, but then we have some heavy shit that happened to you, right? And that shit goes down, and then it's very easy to say, well, I can't succeed, I can't win because, well, look. And you could lose a laundry list of things and just list it out and be like, look at all the reasons. And most people around you will support your reasons. If you had just given up and said, well, I'm just going to settle in, look at all this trauma and tragedy that we've had to deal with as a family, like, I'm just going to, I'm going to kind of coast. There's not one person outside of the environment in here that would have looked at you and been like, what the fuck's wrong with you? You need to keep going, right? Everybody would have supported that attitude. And so it's that internal drive and that commitment for every single one of us. It's just we just know we are either committed to go that direction or we're not. That's it. And life is going to come at you in a million different ways. And if we don't actually just go, we have no chance. So beautiful. 2 clap. All right, Scott.
Hey. So
Monday.
Yeah, I think there's a few things that became clear to me in doing this, and I think my mindset is mostly focused on the bondage aspects of what I'm going through. And so having me go through, the freedom aspects was great to kind of reset myself and look at the good things that have happened through the year. I mean, there are some good things. I've got pending cash flows that are going to kick me over more money than I've made over the past 2 years. But that being said, I just know how much money I'm leaving on the table because of my inability or unwillingness to push through on systems. I don't trust my own process. So I take myself out of sales and lead generation to focus on that, on the birds that I have in hand and trying to get those things through. And it's just a constant cycle of just, sporadic payments for, getting paid out on deals. And then I've got to fill it back up again. So I've got this job that I've created and not a business. And,
Pause. In the chat, if you're an entrepreneur that has found yourself in the victim of this, building yourself a job instead of a business, say, that's me. Type in, that's me. That's me. So take a look at that, Scott. Like, this is a big one. Everybody falls into this place, right? We have this just dream and desire to work for ourselves. And we're like, we go into, we're going to be, and then all of a sudden, all we've done is we've just replaced a boss for a boss. I've created a job for yourself. So keep going. I just wanted to make sure that you know that's we're all doing it.
Thank you.
Scott, where are you fucking it up?
I'm fucking it up.
Fucking it up, Scott. Tell me very specific. Share it with everybody.
Okay. So the way my deals are set up, I do good at lead generation and closing deals. I fuck it up by putting a team in place. I need a legal function and continually living in that area, trying to get them to do their job. I've replaced them, was really clear on what needs to happen, how things need to go, and it still doesn't happen. I fuck it up in not taking just the daily actions because I live in these areas where I get burnout real easily. I'm not good at them. I spin my, I'm chasing my tail in the accounting side, and the finance side, in proving claims up legally, and
you're going into those areas. Why? Like, why are you spending your time there?
Because I don't trust what I've got built there, what I have there. I don't trust the people that I have there because they keep dropping the ball, and it's where the money's coming in.
Why do they keep dropping the ball?
Well, I don't think I had a clear pipeline set up. And that's been kind of a new thing that I've set up over the past month, I guess. It's very clear where every deal is in the stages, and communication has gotten better there, but it's still not perfect.
So just the other day, I was sitting there with Parker, and I gave him a task to do. I'm like, hey, I need you to go do this thing. And I told him, and I was as clear as I could possibly be in my mind. My mind. Then a couple days goes by, he delivers me the finished product. I look at the finished product, and I'm like, my initial reaction is, fuck, I'm gonna have to do this myself. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, what the fuck? He totally fucked this up. This is not at all what I needed him to actually do. And I'm sitting there, I'm running all this narrative through my head of watching this happen. And then I had another thought. Maybe I wasn't clear. Maybe I actually wasn't clear. Maybe I didn't actually create even a game that he could win. So I could go to say, well, he's fucking it up, or I could go and say, well, maybe I'm the one that fucked it up. At the end of the day, if your team's not performing for you and your employees aren't doing what they're supposed to do, consider there's just a possibility that it's not them. All right, so I went back to Parker and I said, talk to me back, and I realized I had not been clear. He tells me what he thought I said, and what he thought is not what I thought I said, and so we were sitting in this weird place, and he was never going to deliver the result I wanted, which means I had a choice in that moment. I can then try to recreate what I had told him, right, get more clear, or I could have technically, like I said, get the fuck out of the way and I'll take over the project and do it myself, taking me away from what I actually need to do, which is exactly what you're describing, Scott. So you look at that and you've got a story right now that your team can't do what you tell them to do. Is it possible? Maybe they're not clear. Is that even possible? I don't know. Maybe it's not.
Yeah, of course it's a possibility. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it does feel like I'm solving the same problems over and over again.
And it takes you out of your superpower,
right?
Which takes you into the thing that you end up spinning your wheels on, and you're spending all this fucking energy and effort over on this side thing that has nothing to do with actually growing the revenue, so you can get a constant stream up. Instead, you're in this yo-yo. Right? So if you don't change the story in that and realize, hey, there could be something different going on here, right? What's going to change? What will change if you continue the same story and narrative?
Well, I've boiled it down to if I don't figure this out, like it's like a life or death of my business. And if I don't get this right, if I don't figure out what I need to do now, that I won't be doing a fact map next year because I'm going to be working for somebody else. Like I can't continue to have things go this way. I mean, I can, when I do have the money that's coming in, I need to actually put that back into my business. I need to hire somebody that's going to be able to manage that aspect of it, to put me in a place where I can, really live my superpower, bringing the deals in, closing deals, finding new deals, training people, the things that I've been neglecting now.
Scott, what's a money pinch?
The money
pinch?
The money
pinch? Yeah, what's a money pinch? You're fucking stressed. So what's a money pinch? Talk to me. You run out of money? How many months you got?
Like I've got this month right now, and I've got until things get paid out. I've got a hearing tomorrow that'll float me for 6 months if everything goes through the right way.
But what? You're stressed though. What's the stress about? Talk to me.
The stress is having I have no control, or I have no predictability of my cash flows. I'm great at getting the deals.
Got it.
But getting them paid is a whole other story.
Okay, cool. How many in the chat can sense Scott's nervousness? Type in hell yes in the chat if you can see this. One of the things I'm going to encourage you guys to do, and you can't see me because I'm hiding behind a pole, so just look at Trevor and imagine this is what a less good-looking version of me looks like.
Oh, yeah.
It's more tolerable. It's more tolerable because, it's stunning when I stand up here. I can only say that because he's my brother. So you guys get into this place where you don't want to talk about, like, the actual issue. Like, human beings do this. We want to talk about all the things around the issue, and it's uncomfortable. And it's really uncomfortable when you have to talk about money and how it's not working. So I'm going to stop right here with this, Scott. We'll be done. We'll move to Morgan for time. But bro, just like as you keep going down this path for you, I'll come out from hiding. There I am. Yeah, just bring it on in, dude. Just bring it on in. Right by me and the placenta eater. Not yet, not yet. Eating placenta in like 4 weeks. Yes, okay. 8 weeks, excuse me. Just be in the actual numbers. Like, and own it. You're like, dude, I got fucking 6 weeks. If we don't land this contract, we're fucked. I can't hit payroll. And then those become the topics inside of what every day, Scott?
Into focus. I mean, that's, yeah. The stack.
What tool? Say it again.
The stack.
Yeah.
And into
and
the
you
game.
Go all in. Yes, go all in on your stack game on this. So your frustration will actually create the solutions in your frustration. And you don't, the ultimate goal for us is for you not to need the group. The group becomes an addition to your extraction of value, and that you go to God and your higher self to be able to solve the problems, because most of the time it's things that you already know you need to do. And so if we can get you leaned in on that faster and more efficiently inside the stack, and the only way that'll happen is if you're really fucking honest and really fucking specific. If you're not specific, then what happens? We get these wandering answers that come out.
Mm-hmm.
And I want my trainers and my team inside, like my sales team wants you to see this. You go wandering at these guys over the phone, you're done. Like on the money game, it's real simple. What did you take home last year? Be it. It's not like, hey, how you feel about your job? How you feel about your business? Like, where are you at? Can you pay your bills? How do you feel about that? Where does that put you right now? Very specific, very specific, very specific. How many right here in the room know that when it comes to natural beta rose, if you're not specific with the client, this creates problems? Raise your hand. So this is no different in the warrior world. Like, everything has to be specific. So Scott, get used to talking about it in specifics. Here's what I'm fucking up. I'm fucking up on this process right here with this team member. It's costing us this amount of money. And if I don't get this figured out, I figure I got right now about 7 weeks before we're completely motherfucked.
Okay.
And if I don't land this contract next week, which completely set us into a great place, if I don't land this contract next week, heading into Christmas is going to be a nightmare for me. Because now I'm going to be stressed the fuck out about the fact we didn't land this contract. Now I'm trying to focus on Christmas, but I'm not going to be able to, so I'm going to have to drink just to fucking endure through Christmas and pretend like I give a shit as I'm stressed out about every present my wife bought for my children.
Mm-hmm.
But I now know that we don't have the money to fucking pay for it, but I can't tell her it's going to fuck up all the holidays. So instead, I'm just going to sit and I'm going to have to sedate a little bit and be stressed the fuck out. How many of you in chat get exactly what I'm talking about? Type in hell yes in the chat if you get what I'm talking about. Like, this is reality, 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 reality. So Trev, too, like when we're going this, just right to the gauntlet, dude, with this. Right to the gauntlet. When we're doing business talk, just right to the gauntlet, right to the gauntlet, right to the gauntlet. How much money did you take home? How much money did you get last month? What does that look like? And that goes across the board, too, when we're dealing with our MBR artists and we're dealing with them inside the tribe. Don't do this wandering thing. Go specific. What did you take home last month? Can you pay your bills with this? How do you feel about that? Does that make you happy? Are you okay with that number? Is that number not okay? Okay, good. What would have to change or be different in order to change that number? What would that have to look like? Very specific. The more you girls become savage at the way that you engage with our clients, even coming into the salon, what do you specifically want? Now, we already know, Crystal, half the shit they want is bullshit and they don't know what they want. But we let them feel it by being specific. Same thing inside the group. Scott, what are you hearing from me?
I'm hearing that I've got to get very clear in my stacks. I got to, be very specific with what I'm asking for, what my problems are, what I'm struggling with. I need to put that on God. I need to seek, knock, ask, and I need to actually go through the door when he puts the solution in front of me. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, well done. Too good? Boom. All right, we're going to drop both of you guys because I got to cover something real quick before we go to lunch break. Here we go, here we go, here we go. I'm wandering around. Trevor, great job. So the conversation of money is like once you get comfortable with the conversation of money, like there's two topics you get really comfortable with: money and sex. Third one is the conversation of God. You get comfortable talking about money, sex, and God, life's pretty simple. The only thing you might add to it is politics. You throw some politics in there, not give a fuck, now there's nothing. But if you can handle money, you can handle the conversation of sex, and you can handle those two conversations. You can talk about it openly and freely, and as a normal, natural dialogue doesn't feel weird to you, life gets a lot easier, because those are the two topics everybody avoids. People don't want to talk about those two things, right? Particularly if things aren't working out sexually, or things aren't working out for them financially, and if they're both not working out at the same time, it's like, is a very stressful place to be. So our target inside of our own lives is to be able to speak directly and specifically to ourselves inside the stack. If I can't be very specific with myself in the stack, then there's no chance I have to get a specific answer. My experience is God does not give specific answers to wandering questions. It's like Google, right? I've been in a situation where I've been trying, I'll tell people to look some shit up, they can't find anything. I'll go right online to internet, to Google, and I'll find something in 3.2 seconds. Why? Because I know what to type in the what? Search bar. I know what to ask for. And so Google gives me what we're looking for. But if you don't know what to look for, and we're over here looking for scorpions, you keep typing in giraffes, we're in trouble. Well, I can't find any scorpions because you keep typing in giraffe. Type in scorpion, guess what happens? You find scorpions. So we're going to look at this conversation of money, and we're going to look at this conversation around the topic of cash. So everything that you've had as a conversation has been around cash. But what the problem in business and entrepreneurism is people want to talk about revenue. This is a big number. I used to get excited about this number too. Revenue, 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 revenue. This is what we always want to talk about. Revenue is so great. Revenue, 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 revenue. Revenue is how much money came in on the top line. But revenue is a problem because revenue doesn't equal how much you make. If you have a check, that's the total amount you make. But if you're W-2, then what ends up happening first before you get spendable money? Taxes. So taxes come out. So you're like, oh shit, that's not actually what I make because I got to give money to the tax guy. Which means there's what I make and there's what I get to spend. Business is no different. We have revenue. People want to typically look at it. Revenue minus sales equals expenses. Excuse me. Sales minus expenses equals our game we call profit. So revenue as a whole, when we're looking at this as an idea, we're saying, okay, I got to sell some shit, then I got to pay for some expenses in my teams and my offices, and then what's left over is I got some profit for me. Right? What I'm going to flip the script on you on is I want you to start looking at the game of your money from what do I actually get to spend? What do I get to spend? This is why some of you in employee situations, you want to get yourself into 1099 situations. Because if you get yourself into 1099, guess what's happened, Sammy?
You control your money.
Now, it also means you got to have your own office, and you got to, in the state of California, it's real fucking weird, right? We don't give a shit. We don't want to pay you W-2. Trust me, I don't want to pay you W-2. Because if I do, everything that I pay you, I have to match your taxes. Which means for a business owner, I pay more than you get. So like you get paid, then you pay taxes, but I have to pay you, plus I have to match your taxes, which means I actually pay out more every month than we've even agreed to pay you. Because I have to match your W-2 income. I have to pay that tax to the state of California and to the IRS for the country. Like I have to double pay shit constantly. It's annoying. We don't like it. It's disgusting. I fucking hate it. Plus I have to pay workers' compensation fund, and I got to pay all this other shit that has nothing to do with your pay. So in our world, we prefer to pay you 1099. Sometimes we can, sometimes we can't. But all of that is a function of looking for how do I get this number here, which is profit, but profit isn't necessarily cash. I'm going to introduce a formula to you all, and I want you to start thinking about this from a different frame, which is sales. And this again will go to my entrepreneurs. I'll give you a different formula for those who are working as entrepreneurs or inside an organization. Sales minus King's cash equals expenses. Weston, what do you see when you see this? What is this formula telling you?
Well, this tells me.
Grab the microphone right there for me, Jam. Thanks, bud.
So I've got what I'm coming in every month. Then I've got what I'm using as the king to build the kingdom. And then what's left should be what all I have to spend. But I need what's left there needs to be King's cash that is used to build the kingdom.
So in this case, we would come in and we would say, we could play this from a place if I'm collecting a check.
Correct.
I could come in my check minus my King's cash or money I'm going to keep for myself. This gets a little more complicated in this frame. But there's a commitment to amount of money that I'm going to keep no matter what. Because one of the challenges comes with having any kind of check is that people will tend to spend exactly what they make, right? So, and then they make more, and then what happens?
You spend it.
You spend it again, and next thing you know, your check's 3 times bigger than you had when you first started, but you're still spending all the money you had no money left over.
Yep.
So there's a habit that has to start thinking not just through looking at the cash, but also looking at the cash from a different frame, which is looking at the cash from a place of how much do I save. Now I'm going to come back to the entrepreneur side of this. As an entrepreneur, then, what I'm asking myself is I'm saying, okay, if I take sales, total sales in the company, minus King's Cash. King's Cash is what is my commitment to money? What am I committing? So at the end of every year, I have a commitment to myself that I put on the businesses. Here's what I'm going to make next year. I'm not waiting for the business to tell me how much I'm going to make next year. I'm going to tell the businesses how much I'm going to make next year. It's different. I'm not sitting back and saying, well, whatever is left over. And the typical model works like this. Sales, as we put it up before, minus expenses. And I realize it's simplified, so my accountants don't fucking break my balls right now. I could go deep with it if you want. Sales minus expenses equals King's Cash. This is how I was raised to look at it. We're going to sell some shit. We're going to have a bunch of expenses, and whatever's left over, that'll be for me. And so my hope is that something's left over. And I ran plenty of businesses where everyone was getting paid but me. When my first round of business went under, Danielle was losing her shit for like 9 straight months. She said, can you help me fucking understand how all your managers are making more money than you? You run this fucking company. You own this company. It's all in your name. It's all your risk. It's all on your credit. How are they all making more money than you? And I, of course, didn't know what I was doing. I was very stressed out as a business owner at that time. I didn't know. I just was like, I'm going to invest in people. But I was always putting myself where? Last. Last. Anywhere we put king, obviously you guys can replace this with queen if you're a lady. Right? So I came back to this and I was like, all right, the principle is really simple then. The king eats first. Sammy, what does this mean? King eats first.
It means if I'm going to go to war to build my own kingdom, and if I'm prioritizing myself last, I can't sustain my kingdom. So I need to make sure my priorities are in alignment.
Which means, who comes first, Sammy or Garrett?
Samuel.
Thank you. Who comes first, Sammy or Warrior?
Sammy.
Who comes first, Sammy or any of the Finlay clan?
Sammy.
Mama Finlay?
Sammy.
Mama Finlay?
It's Sammy.
Thank you. Testing you. So, you. Because if you're healthy, you're on fire, you're in power, you have abundance, you're able to give more.
Correct.
The reason I'm able to help Mel is because I don't have want. That's it. I can help her because I'm not starving. This isn't a decision of, do my children eat or do I help Mel? It's not a bad decision. Why? Because I put myself first. Who comes first, me or Danielle?
You.
Who comes first, me or my baby Charlie?
You.
Me. It's really hard. It's really hard. People are like, I don't know how that works. You come first. You come first. You come first. What about your partner? Katie, you or your husband?
Me.
You. You were the kiddos.
Me.
You. You were Danielle.
Me.
You. You were Rachel.
Me.
Oh, that was close. You almost put Rachel first. Saw that.
She's so sweet.
She is sweet.
Took me a second.
Yeah. And this principle helps us all win. Because the version of Katie that walks in, she's fucking on fire. She took care of her body. She took care of her spirituality. She took care of her relationship with her kids. She took care of her mindset and her psychology with money. She comes in on fire, ready to go. That means the version of her that we get is like 100%. She's maxed out. She's awesome. Versus putting Katie last, and what we get is a 27% version. And it's like, well, 27% over a week is less productivity and profitability for the business and less important for you if we get that much from you every single day versus just having you for 2 days at 100%. So this is a mindset that has to shift, and I'm encouraging all of you to look at it as a shift because it's part of where we're going to be going after we come back from lunch. Is we're going to be talking about the conversation of money, and we're going to play it from a different place, which is we're going to get this talk around the idea of freedom, which is what do you want? What do you want? For many of you, this is really hard because you're like, man, I'm putting myself first. This feels selfish. It feels fucking weird. It feels uncomfortable. I don't like it. It makes me feel awkward. How many of you in the chat right now feel this? Type it in me if you go through this struggle with yourself of like trying to put yourself first. I mean, trust me, it's really difficult. It's really difficult. I got a wife, I got a son, I got 4 daughters. It's difficult. I got amazing teams on both sides and both companies. I got amazing women and men around me who are amazing human beings. I got all of you as clients. I got thousands and thousands of customers and clients that are amazing also. But I'm at the top of the pyramid in my world. And you're at the top of the pyramid in your world. And if I don't take care of myself, there's no way I can take care of my wife. I was up at 5 o'clock this morning, 4:30 this morning, and go to bed till 1 o'clock this morning. I was working on ideas and concepts, and after the battle with Danielle, I wasn't really feeling pumped to sleep. So I was like, all right, I'm going to work some shit out. I'm just working. I get up this morning, I work out, I meditate, I ground myself, I stack, I do my thing this morning to get myself ready. Could have spent time with my kids, but I had to get myself ready. I'll spend time with my kids tonight. And people see this methodology with me and like, I don't understand it. And I said, it's really simple. I can give to an abundantly high number of people if I'm healed myself. Broken people can't heal people. Broke people can't help broke people. I always find it interesting at the church. The church has to lean on the profitable producers to have money to fund the projects of the church. Most of the church game is funded by about 5% of the people. Everybody else participates in free childcare. The end. They come knocking on all the profitable entrepreneurs' doors. Hey, can you fund this nonprofit? Hey, can you fund this nonprofit? I always find it fun that the nonprofits are funded by the for-profits. Only to find out the nonprofits weren't so nonprofit as we thought. So this game of creation for us is a psychological shift in the way you see you. Now we're going to look at your targets heading into 2023 from 3 levels. Write this down because you're going to be teaching it. We have today's current reality. And you completed today's reality across body, being, balance, and business. This is where we're at, stage number 1. Here's where I'm at today. Now, we are looking to this place that's off in the future by January 1st, 2024. We're talking about something happening just over 12 months from now. We're saying by January 21st, 2024, there's this place that I can arrive at in my body, in my being, in my balance, in my business. I'm going to pursue this place. This version of me that exists that currently I do not know. This version of me that currently does not have the capacity to obtain those results. This is why we're going to call that man or woman at that location, we're going to call this the impossible you. So we have this 4th spot over here, driven in this huge gap between where I am today and the impossible me, January 1st, 2024. Impossible. That's what this was. Impossible. I had 95% of the targets on this thing in ways that I didn't even know how I was going to pull it off. I just knew I got clear. I'm going to pull this shit off. These were the symbols of my plant medicine journeys. I'd never done plant medicine before. But I knew what I was, I knew it intuitively, a soul level, what I was going to. I saw a vision of what it was. So I created the symbols of it and the rise of King Garrett, this new version of me. Walk around 6-pack, experiencing my kingdom, lifting up a different way of living life across business, lifting up my family, lifting up my business and my money. I saw it, I experienced it. It was palatable, it was real for me. And based on who I was at this time last year, it wasn't possible. You're not trying to figure out what's possible right now. What we're trying to figure out is, what do you want to be true in the land of impossibility? There are changes that happen inside a warrior in 12 months. People live the warrior's way that are nearly impossible to believe are real. So much so that I have to remind people in warrior where they were just 3 months ago. I'm like, do you not remember where you were 3 months ago? I was just having this conversation again this morning with another one of my one-on-one guys. I said, hold on, let's do a little timeout. How long have we been playing together? I said, 6 weeks. I said, you already made your money back 5 times over. I was like, this is why it's going to be $1 million next year, but I'm only going to take on 2 of you. just for fun, not because of any other reason than just because it'll be fun. That's it. And I'm gonna take a percent of your business. So I just want you to see where you're at right now. Look at, in less than 3 months, look at what the fuck has happened to your life. 3 months. We're not even 12 months into the journey. He's like, I can't even believe it. I said, I know. My job's to remind you about where you came from. So we've already done this work. Now we have this other place over here we want to pursue to, but that's hard to envision sometimes. Sometimes we're not sure how to even conceive those numbers, how to conceive that possibility, Weston, what that could look like physically. Like, it's hard because we're like, oh man, like I could just make some shit up, but I'm not even sure what that might be. So instead of doing that, we found a better process, which we're going to be doing all afternoon, which is we're going to move on a step-by-step basis. So we're going to come in and say, all right, here's the reality today. We're going to take a pit stop and say, hey, what would be realistic? If my current reality is point 1, what would be a realistic destination? If I arrived at point 2 by January 1st, 2022, it'd be realistic. We're not going to be high-fiving you and going, wow, that's so incredible. I can't believe you did it, because we kind of expect you to do it. We're like, yeah, that makes sense. You could do that. It's good. There's another point beyond realistic, though, and this is what we call radical. Radical is when you start to arrive at a place where we're like, oh, wow, okay. That's impressive. Like, that's more than I anticipated. I didn't think you're going to be able to pull that off. That's impressive. Yeah, that's something we can brag about. When we start to talk about point 4, now we're standing in a place where we're like, how the fuck did you pull that off? You don't even look like the same human being. Like, I don't even know who you are. Anybody ever seen like an American Idol or The Voice where you have somebody comes on and they try out, and then like 2 years later, you're seeing them and they got veneers and boob jobs and cool hair extensions, and you don't even know who this person is anymore? How many have seen this? Raise your hand. This happens with athletes, it happens with entrepreneurs, it happens with people every single day, which is individuals who take on a journey of complete transformation. To the point that the person they were is so inferior to the person they became that people who have not seen them for a period of time don't know who they're actually dealing with. The reason Danielle and I work as a couple now is because we're not the same people. If I was the same man I used to be, there's no way we'd work. If she was the same woman she used to be, I'd divorce her. If I was the same guy I used to be, she'd divorce me. There's no possible way we'd be together. We had to rise together as individuals to a place of impossibility, but we've been playing this impossible game for the past 10 years. Every year, doubling down again, doubling down again, doubling down again, doubling down again. So here's what you're going to consider as we go to our lunch break. You're going to take a look in the first category, and that category is business, and you're going to ask yourself a really simple question. What would impossible look like for me? What would impossible look like for me? And we're going to specifically look at it from these 3 categories. King's cash. This would be take-home money. How much money you took home? Yes, that included paying your bills. So how much money did you take home? You actually put in your bank. Number 2, King's Vault. King's Vault is how much money of that cash did you actually save? Did you keep? Not just brought in and then spent out the back door. How much were you able to keep? 3rd piece, King's Lifestyle. Which is, what are you doing? What's the activity that allows you to get this? Like, what are you up to? There's a lot of things you can make a bunch of cash, but you hate what you do. And there's a lot of people who do what they love, but they don't make any cash. So we're looking at all 3 of these areas, which is the actual amount you took, the amount that you saved, and also inside of this, what you did to pull it off. What did that look like? What was the actual experience? What was the process? What was the lifestyle that you awakened yourself to? If you're clear on what I'm talking about in the chat, go ahead and type it on in there if you're with my virtual audience. If you're clear about what I'm talking about on this, I'm about to go to lunch. You're going to have 1 hour. And during this hour, I'm just going to be with the thoughts. You're going to go meditate. You're going to go eat. You're going to go relax. When you come back, we're going to start burning through our impossible games. I'm take you through some specific activities from here through the end of the day. By the time we're done at 6 o'clock p.m., we're going to lock down all 4 of your impossible game maps. These are actually easier and simpler than all the work you've already done. But it's going to require you to let go. So we got clear in the chats. Everybody's good virtual. We will see you guys here in roughly 1 hour. We'll be back in 60 minutes to get started here at 2 o'clock. If you're here in my room, guess what? Taco time! On your feet, out to my deck. Let's go eat some lunch. Everybody virtual. We will see you guys back here in 1 hour. Have a fantastic lunch break. We'll get started with our impossible game maps after lunch.